Good morning, everyone. It is 8:35 and calling this meeting of the Finance Committee to order. We do not have any members on Zoom at this time. So I'd like to welcome Paul Knoyer as our first presenter this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Representing engineering, highway, DPW, cemeteries and parks and sewer. On page 14 of your packet.
It's not wherever you want. I have no preference.
Engineering is first on our list. So.
Engineering is first on the list. Certainly the simplest. Obviously, it's mostly salaries and professional technical, which is the P&T is largely used for the MS4 permit compliance, which is the really the drainage system of the community and the permit needs of that. And then a little buffer for if we need to get Graves to do a quick job for us or something like that. But
Okay, and we noted that the salary here is non-union based on the town salary chart.
that's correct.
We did have a question. The original request for professional and technical was I had it as 175, but this one is showing 150. 2024 was 150. Request for this year is 175, and the current is 100,000. Does that just bring everything in balance?
Yeah, and we had already allocated some ARPA dollars to
Okay.
try to cover some of the increases in MS4.
Okay.
So we just backed it down and allocated the remainder to ARPA.
So the amount that we need is still getting paid for
Oh, yeah.
all that.
Yep.
Okay.
Same amount of work, just taking it from a different pot.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah, that was the main question that the people had when we met with them.
Yep.
What's the plan for next year?
Scramble? No. We are gonna slowly build that back up. We have enough in our ARPA allocation for 3 years.
3 years?
So our plan is to get it squared away before that. So
And that 3 years is the end of when that money has to be spent, correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, does anyone have any questions on engineering?
Is that salary contractual? Or is that just based on,
That's based on the
Based
chart.
on- yeah.
Okay, highway department.
And Kevin wishes he could be here, but he has other things. It is what it is. I mean, I'm not really. Obviously, it's fairly level funded, as was the directive. The largest, big expenses for us is the tree topping, as we discussed that day. It continues to be a
So all of the salaries here are
contractual.
union or town chart, so there's no change in personnel.
Correct.
I had a comment here about expenses increased due to material costs, but there's no actual increase in here right now, so I don't know if that
that's-
changed since.
yeah, no, that's the materials did increase, but we don't have enough money. So
Okay,
So we will do what we
we'll
can
do
do.
what Highway does best and make do with what they have.
that department head salary is just a portion of yours, right?
Correct.
What's the split?
I don't remember.
60/40.
60/40, yeah,
and then the rest goes to sewer,
that's
right?
correct. Yeah.
Okay. And cemeteries and parks, page 16.
Salaries again, the 3 staff, Daryl, and the 2 full-time people with contractual, Daryl's just on the chart, is seasonal employees. So that's the salaries number. And the rest is literally exactly the same as last year. with the same note that we'll do what we have to do. As Darrell explained to you guys with the grass seed thing, this stuff just, things are more expensive and we'll get done what we can get done.
Okay, no, there's a decrease in seasonal / permanent.
It's only because of a long-term seasonal employee left, the person
Okay.
had been here for 20-something years.
Yep. Okay, anyone else have any questions on cemeteries and parks? Sewer, do we have sewer?
Not in that printout.
Okay. I had some notes on that, if you wanna.
So the sewer, it's the salaries are, there's no contractual, everybody's just off the salary grid, except for the admin person that works in the town hall. So those numbers are there. The increases along the whole line are based on the increases that we see and can expect. Most of the costs, we have zero control over. We don't control energy, we don't control sludge disposal, and we don't control the chemical costs, all things that are needed to make that system work. And then the repair and maintenance line is up. It's, it was at $25,000 for a long time, but that number's not sustainable with the cost of everything. So other than that, it's based on an enterprise system. So the funds in that stay in that, pays the debt service, the indirect costs, health insurance, vehicle insurance, building insurance, portions of some staff in the town hall.
They're gonna be changing the rate at all?
No, the goal of the commission was to, once the construction was done in 2018-19, was to keep that same rate for 20 years. And, we move money at the town meetings every year from the retained earnings to different accounts for unexpected expenses, but the rate now covers the O&M and the debt service, the rate we have. So with the increase of customers, kind of offset all the increase in expenses, so.
But you mentioned you have some pending connection fees, about $5 million for ongoing construction.
Yeah, if all those things
Everything
happen.
goes through, yeah.
Right. But again, it's money that will eventually get spent down.
Yeah.
Just through different replacement projects as we go. Nothing new, just repair and replacement of everything's, the generator cost $100,000 and there's 17 of them. So it's just all those things eventually gonna wear out, so.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions on sewer? Or for Paul in general? Alright, thank you very much for coming in.
Oh, love to be here.
We really put you through the ringer this year, Paul.
It's tough.
Best 10 minutes of your Saturday, right?
No, I've got the next couple hours are gonna be the best of my Saturday. All right,
Have a good one.
see ya.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank Paul.
Yep.
So fire department is scheduled next, but not for about 15 minutes. So I guess we have a little bit of a break at this point.
We'll be able to type better. Every session. We'll be out of here by 10.
Well, there's not a lot to talk about with a 0.9% increase.
Right, exactly.
And
Oh,
almost
good
all
job.
of it contractual
Yeah.
or chart.
You could take this one out of order.
Oh, that's a favorite one.
Greg,
Yeah.
I'm going to be presenting a transfer request for Nelson Park.
Okay.
The emergency lighting system is kind of crapped out there. They have a price of about $4,500 to do it. Do you wanna see a material list with it? In essence, what's happened is when we did the last building inspection, went around, tested the emergency lights.
Yep.
And they don't work anymore. The batteries are all shot in the units.
So are you doing all the work yourself? It's not outside or?
No, I can't do the electrical work.
Okay.
Not unless I have an electrician sign off on
So
it.
you have a quote.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Quote's
If,
fine, yeah.
okay. All right, I'll send it in for the next meeting.
Okay. Yeah, so we can do that Wednesday.
Nelson's on our agenda today, right?
Yeah, do you wanna talk about the rest of that? Anybody have any questions?
I mean, I wonder if we should budget for, there's been, some, occasional, things coming up, which is the age of the building, so.
Yeah, I don't see that we'll have any other particular needs other than this is something that came up, like we walked around and checked the emergency light, the exit lights. Well, those work fine. So I had the electrician come, and we're doing, he's going around, we're looking at what to do with what we have there. And all of a sudden I could hear the fire alarm chirp, and I said, oh, something wrong with that. So we start walking down the stairs. He goes, no, it's not that. He says the power's out. And I said, oh, okay, well that's good. So we walk downstairs, and of course the exit lights aren't lit. I said, well, what happened? They worked the other day. Well, the batteries were shot in them. But if you push the button to test them, it lit for a few seconds. So now what do you, so they were $12 or something to get. We got them through Amazon. But that's just, I can't think of anything else up there that's gonna have an issue with it. The lights are 50 years old. They're automotive light bulbs that are up there. The company that manufactured the units themselves, which all have different outputs, you can't tell what they were supposed to have because the company's gone out of business. So you can't even tell whether the chargers that are in the units are functioning correctly, or if they're boiling the batteries, and it'd just be a waste of money throwing the batteries in. Tom looked and sized them, and we don't need to have 3 units anymore because of the electricity for an LED light head instead of the automotive light head. So we've only got to have 2. You can't even really replace 50-year-old technology with this stuff. There's nothing else in there. I mean, there was an alarm on the back door. Nobody even knows how it worked. And that was for if kids went out the back door when it was the library. And it's not anymore. That's another issue that we got to get squared away. But unfortunately, we haven't had any luck disposing of anything else up there in a positive fashion. It's almost like, okay, roll the dumpster up and all the books and everything go into a dumpster. And, we've circulated stuff through the schools to see if anybody wants anything. We've had some interest from teachers and that kind of stuff. But, people continue to drop books off up there. Nobody wants books anymore.
Yeah.
So there's no real other infrastructure stuff up there to worry about, so to speak, I guess.
Wonder if you get the company that does the dumpster, the bin out here to come pick stuff up. The one for the senior center.
That would be, we have a dumpster up there.
No, the
Yeah.
book bin, I think is what
Donations.
you're.
There's a book recycling company that handles the.
Oh, yeah,
There's a bin in front of the
we
senior
could
center.
just fill that up.
Yeah, I just think it'd
I
be
mean,
easier
but
to have them come.
In that sense, what I do when I stop by, and I gotta
Yeah.
grab the ones that are out there now,
Yeah.
just grab them, toss them in a truck, and one of the 8 million times a week I come up here, I just take and throw them in there. But Oh, yeah, yeah, when the guy comes and opens it, it's almost like an avalanche coming out of it.
There was someone today on All Things Grafton who was asking where they could donate books. So is it's just the exit signs that need?
No,
Okay.
no, so the exit lights, for example, were something that, it's something that could go wrong, but there's nothing really wrong with them, it's just the batteries, and it's kinda like okay, what else is gonna happen?
Right.
In that context? The only reason why we knew the batteries were shot were
The power went out.
the power went
Yeah.
out, and they didn't stay lit for more than, the time you test them for.
Yeah.
There isn't really anything else up there, the heating systems, under control, so to speak, that's new with new technology that's proven and the things are lasting. The electrical system is fine for what it is. They put the siren up there and they didn't find anything wrong with anything up there. But this lighting system, there's nothing else that's really,
Right.
What year was it built? I know there was like a.
74,
Okay.
fire in 72.
Yeah.
I kind of thought about not asking for the full money, but if I don't take the full money and take some money out of our budget, that's gonna mean we can't replace the other two air conditioners on the meeting room side, which are 74 air conditioners, and they don't work, and we had, last summer when there was rec department stuff up there, we couldn't do it because it was too hot in the building.
Okay, while we're waiting, Evan, do you wanna talk about anything?
Sure, whatever you want.
Chief Matthew's here. He was just
Okay.
wanting to follow up.
Okay. Perfect.
Okay.
Oh, nope.
Oh, oh,
Not
Bob.
speaking.
Nothing too perfect.
Okay,
Amber,
Cable
Which
on
film
the
are coming?
agenda today?
Okay.
just call them.
Eric.
911. Yeah,
Direct
yeah,
line.
Turn on the siren.
Yeah.
The air raid
yeah.
siren.
We need you in conference room.
I brought this thing like I knew how to use it.
Okay.
good morning, chief.
Well,
How you doing?
I knew you were coming, so I printed them out.
And Paul told me that, and I was like, thank God.
Yeah, so, your budget starts on page 10, so. So, thank you for coming in to see us this morning.
Thanks for having me. I have to figure this out. There we go.
Double-sided.
Yep.
All right, so you want to just give us a brief summary of how the department's doing this year?
The department is doing awesome this year. We've been putting on a heavy recruitment type thing, as you all know, and last count in the last 2 years, we've put on almost 20 members.
Nice.
And not to knock anybody beforehand, but the couple years before, we were averaging 2 members a year. So it's made a big difference. It also hits us in the wallet a little bit because we have to outfit 20 people and all that stuff, but it's been going pretty good. Numbers wise, we've also increased the amount of training we do, mostly in-house. So that is always a big factor as well, because with 20 new people, it makes it a much younger department and much less experience. So we're bringing that, try to bring those people up to speed and stuff.
So a lot of how about first time versus experienced in that group?
Mostly green,
Okay.
no experience. We're actually, which I was surprised, getting a lot of younger people, you know, early 20s and stuff. So that was pretty good because a lot of people have trouble at that age, you know, either affording town or stuff. So hopefully we got a lot of people that are still living with their parents.
Okay. So,
Yeah. Otherwise, we're keeping up on apparatus maintenance. We've implemented a few new programs as far as getting our yearly services done, and as well as like our ladder testing hadn't been done in years, so the aerial tower will now get a yearly test to certify it, to kind of cover us and make sure everything's as safe as it needs to be, because when you're 95 feet in the air, you don't want to question the truck you're in. So we've brought a lot of that stuff on board that, you know, scheduled and all that. So, but yeah, a whirlwind is the best way I can put it. It's been busy.
all right. So I see the biggest increase in the salaries department is an 84,000 separate line administrative personnel. Can you explain what that one?
Yes, that is the fire prevention captain.
Okay.
In past, that has been included in the firefighter line item. We wanted to move that out of the firefighter line item for tracking purposes and a little more clarity on the budget. And we kept the line item for firefighters the same due to the increase in training hours and the number of hours because the increase in personnel numbers.
Is there COLA in there, chief?
What's that?
Is there a COLA in there for the call five?
There is not. We've been absorbing that in that so, this year. Along that question, I would like to say, like in the future, we're looking to hopefully boost the pay for firefighters because it's the incoming firefighter is right around just over $24 an hour, and differentials between officers is a matter of cents.
Pennies.
So, and it's disheartening for me when I ask somebody like, "Oh, you're in the officer's seat," and I joke, "Did you get officer's pay?" And they're like, "It's just 74 cents," you know. So, I'd like it to be an incentive for people to move up and stuff. So,
Evan, did we do studies on, when we did the personnel study, did we look at call firefighter salaries or anything like that?
We didn't do anything for call. It was all just,
yeah,
That's
the
stuff.
only thing in that study was call chief. I believe was the only one that was in that.
Is that something we should think about doing so that we can address that issue?
oh yeah. Yeah,
We've talked about.
we've talked about it.
Okay, any other questions on salaries? All right, expenses.
From 3 and 2.
So it looks like just about everything there is increases in costs coming to us.
Yeah, as far as anything in there, most of it is the just inflation and trying to offset that for next year. Make sure we have enough to go forward. We did reduce the training instructor line item because Captain Colleen is pretty versed in training, and we have a bunch of senior members that bring a lot to training, so we're not going outside and having to hire somebody to come in like in years past, which works out for us for scheduling and all kinds of stuff. We did keep some money in that for a lot of times we'll bring in outside instructor if we get a new type of equipment where we have to have somebody in to explain that particular piece of equipment if it's brand new to us.
Okay, so you actually ended up with almost 5% decrease in the expenses line due to that, which is just good. We'll move some of that around. Cost of repairs on building repair and maintenance. I assume that's mostly for 2 and 3, or
Actually, it's
one?
for one.
Okay.
The station it's our new station, so it's now 15 years old.
Oh, okay.
And we're in that golden time of HVAC issues and things wearing out. So this year we have spent a lot on keeping the heat on at Station
Okay.
1. The other two stations, we've worked on a capital project to update those, both like plumbing, electrical, and shell type stuff for more efficient, keep them more efficient, updating the heating systems and all that stuff. So we did Station 2 the last 2 years was $100,000 a year for doors, windows. We're working on, they just awarded a bid for HVAC work. And Station 3, there's a capital item in this year's budget, or 25 budget, to start that process down there to get the 1960s single pane windows out and hopefully make the buildings a little more efficient and comfortable for the firefighters.
Hey, you went over the capital budget with us, you have a lot of money allocated for that this year, right?
Yeah, it's 100,000 this year and 100,000 in '26.
Yep.
And that's our guess. You know, it's a rough estimate based on what we spent on Station 2, but fiscal '26, that number's a little more fluid. We'll see what we get to when we start pulling the place apart, because it is straight out of 1960s.
Yeah. And Station 3 is a little bigger. It has a second floor and stuff,
Yeah.
a second bathroom already. And
Correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, but in Station 2, we're also adding accessible bathroom, redoing the bathroom to make it accessible,
Yes.
and adding bunk space.
yes,
So bringing it a little more modern.
yeah.
Turnout gear, how many replacements does that 100,000 get you a year?
Turnout gear, that 100,000 we use for turnout gear, SCBA, as they come up. This year we didn't have to replace any SCBA, but the average set of turnout gear is about $4,000 now. That's jumped up increasingly, but we also went out and searched for what we could that was PFAS free. And so the
Not much out
line
there,
is,
is there?
there's not, in the Chiefs conference 2 weeks ago, a company just announced that they have a PFAS free vapor barrier. So it'll be interesting to see if that makes it through the cut. But that's the biggest thing, and we've upgraded a bunch of things, and it's not necessarily the least expensive piece, but my thought is if these people are willing to put this gear on, I want to make it as safe as possible for them. So we've gone, you know, it's right down to selecting the different outer shells and inner shells so that they're not exposed to that as much as possible.
Okay.
So
What else do you have coming up for capital this year or in the future that you know of?
capital this year is a replacement for our brush truck in North Grafton known as Engine 10. Roger can say that when the truck showed up 30 years ago, it's a two-wheel drive, oversized, underpowered brush truck that doesn't like to go off-road.
Sort of defeats the purpose of being
Yeah.
Exactly, and the joke was that was the departing chief's gift to us. And you know, the members have made it work for years. We piece a lot of hose together to get from the road to into the woods and stuff. And I want to get that truck out of there. For size wise, it's almost 9 feet tall. It's 28 feet long. So even if you get it off road, driving in the woods isn't a great experience. And safety wise, it's a 1989 chassis. So no airbags, no roll protection, all that stuff. So we were able to use capital funds that were left over from numerous years before to buy a brush truck for Station 1. Some of you saw the brush truck, and we're looking to bring another one online, and then through department members, update another pickup truck that we have. So our brush fleet will be good for probably the next 20 years.
Yeah, with more suitable trucks.
Yeah, but again, to go off road, you know, scene lighting, emergency lighting, all stuff that the other truck was lacking. And the one that we just replaced, we were using a structural piece that should have been retired years ago. But department members put, updated that a little bit, and the joke was that if it gets stuck in the woods, we leave it in the woods. Other things, future-wise, the tower ladder, it's the big number for us, and we put that on the budget, hoping that it would spark the process of getting it on the radar. We realize it's a big chunk of change. We're looking at projected at 2.5 million to replace the current setup we have now. That's a ballpark figure from
Jumped like
the manufacturer.
100% in 5 years.
It is absolutely incredible.
We bought ours 5 years ago for $1 million.
Wanna sell it?
2.5. I'll give it to you for 2.5.
Oh yeah, it's so we actually
You 1.2.
with our last engine that's supposed to be coming in next month. We actually ended up having to pay an increase on that because of the cost of
You're looking
everything.
at about 900,000
Twice.
for a pumper.
This one it will come in at I want to say it's 870 or 830. If
I think 8:30.
830. Sorry, yeah.
And you get 24-month build time, right?
That's what that one ended up being. If we for a ladder truck, they're projecting 36 plus.
Well, what we've been kicking around is coming to Maytown meeting to get the authorization.
Yeah, I would think.
Just put it on the books,
Right,
and he can
because
order
once
it.
we have the
3 years.
authorization,
Yeah.
right, it's 3 years from now, right?
Years.
Because if the price keeps going up like the way it is, if we can lock it in now, that would be.
5 million 3 years from now.
Yeah, it's,
Well, again, if you lock it in, are they gonna then?
Yeah.
They'll
Yeah, probably.
they'll ask
so
for
that's
more
the,
money.
they're right now that the reason I think the cost is so much that the manufacturers have started adding in a larger percent increase
Okay.
in their contracts for that. Hopefully it's enough.
Yeah, but in all of these order contracts, they
probably say
they
right
will
there
not they will not
in bold.
like lock it in.
Yeah.
So we do try to build in a little bit of protection there. That was that's what we learned in the last. It's the first time I've ever seen it. That we've been waiting 2 years for a truck, and then they send you a bill and say you can
Yeah,
give
like
us
can we in the
88,000, or you don't get the truck.
Yeah, and you got no choice.
You don't, because I had gone to
Somebody else will
council.
buy it.
I went to council and said, well, what are our options? She said, well, you can say no, but then they're going to put you in the line for 2 years, and you're going to be right back to where you are, because they're going to tell you again you need more money. So
And then if you don't do it and you look for another manufacturer, you're at the
Forget it.
beginning
Yeah.
again.
you're at 2 years and
But that's how we got the
200,000
ladder truck
instead
we
of-
got now, is somebody left it on the shelf
But I'm
and we
guessing
bought it.
you try to
What
put
year's
in the
that truck?
contract
That is a 2000.
increase more
So
than
it's due to be
2% or
Yeah.
whatever.
replaced anyway.
Yeah, it was on the
Yeah, I would definitely do that in May.
on the fire department study plan, the apparatus plan. It was due to be replaced in 24 on that. So
Makes sense to come this spring.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Makes
agree.
absolute sense.
Yeah.
Wow. 2.5 million.
yeah, and I gotta stick an 18-year-old kid in it to drive it when it comes in. It's like, here's the keys to a Lamborghini. What are you gonna do?
Have fun.
Please don't hit anything or anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, we have any other questions for the chief?
You enjoying the job, chief?
I am loving the job. It's great to be able to make the changes that needed to be changed and to watch the department grow, and the members have stepped up. You know, people you didn't know could do certain things are like, hey, I can do this. How can I help? And the amount of committees we've been able to make, the stuff that they've been putting out is incredible.
The
So
recruitment's unbelievable.
It's-
That's amazing getting that many.
it's amazing, and the younger people that are starting are positive about it. We had when we started sending people to the Caldwell Academy, it's a huge commitment, and it used to be some people grumbling about it, like, oh, you don't want to get on the fire department, you got to go to the academy and all this stuff. And this was, it's sad to say, it was internal stuff, because these people didn't have to go to the academy. We did it all in house, so it was a change. And now that most of the department has been through the academy, they're selling it. It's a great experience. They make friends with people. My son went through, and he still hangs out with a kid from Belchertown now that he met in the academy, and they, you know, are tracking each other's careers and stuff like that. So it's been a very positive thing, and the new people are extremely positive about it, and they're doing their own recruiting for their friends and stuff like that. So
That's awesome.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Just to jump in on that, so last night, there was a call for Appaloosa, and that's what I was joking with Paul when he got here, cause I could hear him on the radio, in his grumbly 2 a.m. hallway. But they were able to staff a engine with 5.
Yep.
At 2 o'clock in the morning.
Well, it's a lot of
Which-
enthusiasm. That's awesome.
It is,
Great.
that to me is amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we have ebbs and flows as far as the amount of people, but that's the nature of the call fire department. You don't know who's around when it's around, but just for the big number that we've seen is at structure fires, even during the day, we've been putting 27 plus people on scene in-house, to the point that some of our mutual aid partners are like, how come you didn't call us to the fire?
They need you.
And I'm like, I had people standing there that I couldn't find stuff for them to do, you know, so it really has been amazing. But and if we can get over the, you know, getting all these people up to speed and getting rid of some of the green, we'll be in really good shape. So
Is there a major turnover?
there's been a decent turnover with retirements. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but we probably had I'm gonna say 6 retirements, and other people just leaving because you know, changing work or other things like that. But it's been we've been able to offset that.
Might
And,
be replacing, yeah.
yeah, so our numbers are actually up for the first time in I think 10 years. We're at 59 firefighters right now, well 59 personnel total. So, but yeah, it's been great.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Chief.
Thanks for printing this out.
You can have that.
Oh, I can have it?
Frame it or do
Oh,
whatever you
that'd
wanna
be
do.
great. And I
Use
can
it to
get my
start a
red
fire.
pen out.
Yeah.
Can't spend that, don't spend that. I didn't have to use this, perfect, so it'll last
I know.
longer.
Use it to hold down that paper.
There you go.
Chalk block.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you very much.
Hey, morning, Bob, you're up. Cable TV is on page 5.
Yes, but that would be the-
Morning, Mr. Datoma.
Good morning, sir.
Nice to see you as always.
Nice to be seen. If I had known there was going to be a buffet, I would have worn a tie. How's everybody doing? This should be the quickest presentation you have today, I think.
I want every dime accounted for in your budget, Bob.
Hold on a second.
How is cable TV doing these days?
Cable is really in a good place. I recently started a project where I was investigating the 351 cities and towns in the Commonwealth that run cable operations, and after doing that investigation, you should all be very proud of what we do, because I am. And when I saw some of the other presentations, especially for committees such as this on television, and it's like, whoa. There's just like a wide shot, and there's no opening, there's no closing, it's just really basic. So in that regard, yeah, I think we do really great things, and kudos to the staff, including Bill Robidoux and Ben, who was in the booth today, and Todd Bernard, who's our newest addition. Ben and Todd are basically our break glass in case of emergency guys, and they come in, no schedule, no hours, they just come in, cover the committee, and they go home. So things are good.
You talked to him about getting your good side in this presentation?
I
this
tell
morning?
everybody that. Although this is, you know, I'm not usually in this position, so.
So the enterprise, or not the enterprise, but the regular cable budget, how much is that total budget?
I forgot to bring my glasses, so hold on a second. The total is, you know, to be honest with you, I can't read it.
433,978.
Thank you.
433 what?
978. It's, I did pull it up here, the
Oh.
PEGX. Not, you probably can't see
I
that.
should have looked up.
Because I can't see it from over here. But so, you're in your fiscal 25 request, Total is 433,978. Personnel remains at about 125,000. Access services, which is 69. Energy is about 45.5. Supplies are 45, and equipment upgrades are 150.
And those are all level from same numbers as last year, correct? Looks like.
Services and energy, I think, are the same as last year.
Hold on. I think I misspoke. I think I got grabbed the wrong file here. Why is yours different than mine?
Because she has the right information.
I know. Yep, I got this, sorry, hold on. Let me back up.
While you're doing that, so Bob, in terms of,
Pretend I didn't say anything.
the franchise fees and everything that's coming in, are we seeing a decrease, or have you been able to maintain the same amount of users?
Yeah, there's always gonna be a decrease.
Yep.
I don't see that number ever going back up to the heydays of the eighties. One of the things I discovered when I started the project of looking at the cities and towns of the Commonwealth, a lot of towns in the western part of the state have formed broadband committees. And when I looked at it, I thought it was an odd title for a committee. And then you quickly realize that some of those towns don't even have cable. So they don't have an operation such as this, and they barely have internet. So if that's not an indication of, where the future lies, I can't think of anything else.
Are you tracking the bill before the legislature right now to hit the streaming services?
Yeah, it's funny that you say that because the cable attorney for the town of Grafton, Bill August, he frequently sends me updates on bills that are before, the State House or editorials that he has written in the Boston Globe. So, yeah,
Do you think that has a good chance of passing?
I don't know. I wouldn't bet on anything a politician says or does. So.
Speaking of that, let's start over.
Cable budget, take two.
Yeah, I grabbed the wrong column. I apologize.
So I need to cross off this number that you told me?
Oh, absolutely. None of them are correct. Almost zero.
Just add a
Never
zero.
correct.
That's all.
So the total budget you'll see on the screen here is $309,500. The personnel services is $130,000. That's up $5,522 from last year.
That covers two full-time people?
You have your PEG access services is $69,000 level funded from last year.
Correct.
PEG energy and non-energy is $45,000 level funded from last year.
Correct.
Supplies are $40,000. That's down $5,000 from last year.
Mm-hmm.
And PEG equipment upgrades is $25,000. That's down $125,000 from last year.
Right.
So
Because you paid off the,
Because the bond is coming off this year for the
this is the last payment.
for the new facility.
So that was 5 years.
Yep.
Wow, you did that fast.
you should do this.
Wow. You're hosting something this week, aren't you?
I'm sorry?
Are you hosting something with all the regional cable people coming down?
Yeah, I am. I was trying to keep it a secret, but
No, my director's coming.
okay.
I told her to keep an eye on you when she got here.
Yeah, they kind of forced me into it. They had no place else to go.
So they're coming down.
No, actually, I got an email from my colleague in Shrewsbury, Mark Serra, and he said, we finally figured out a way to schedule an appointment to come and see the new studio. And I said, how was that? And he said, we're wondering if you would host this event. So, okay, fine.
I told her not to come back with any ideas of expanding the studio after seeing yours.
Just come back with equipment.
Just come back.
Just come back with equipment, yeah.
Everybody gets a switcher.
Everybody gets a swag bag when they leave.
You do a great job, Bob.
Thank
Cable's,
you.
cable's really well done, well run. It's good service for the town.
Thank you.
Got a new sign.
We have a brand new sign,
I
which,
saw that, it's nice.
funny story.
Go ahead.
I left on vacation in early November, and I believe the day after I left to go away for 4 or 5 days, the sign was hit in an automobile accident. Came back from vacation, and 30 days later, I walk into the TA's office and I go, does anybody know where my sign went? It took me that long to figure it out. But yeah, we have a brand new sign. It looks pretty good. So, yeah, we're happy.
I like it.
So, how's the upgrade upstairs going?
It hasn't begun yet,
Okay.
and that's all I have to tell you.
Okay.
We just were able to finish the procurement process to award the contract, so now it would start in earnest.
What I can tell you is that we spent roughly $10,000 to put 3 robotic cameras, very similar to these, in the conference room at the TV studio with microphones that hang from the ceiling. We have one piece of equipment to be delivered which will give the room Zoom capability. So when room F is torn apart and goes offline, we'll have a plan B place where people can come and meet. So I'm hoping that the committees that normally meet in room F, instead of going, what are we gonna do? They can come down to the TV studio and they can have their meetings. It can go live. As of today, it can go live. In a few days, hopefully less than a week, it can do Zoom capabilities. So, you know, for some committees, it might be a challenge because there won't be seating. But we can make accommodations. We have a waiting room. We have monitors in the waiting room, so we can send the feed to the monitor, and people can go, oh, it's my turn to speak, and then just shoot into the committee room.
How long do you think it's gonna take to upgrade the room upstairs?
I
Is there an
tell
estimated
you.
time?
They anticipate it being done before year end.
We're open.
Yeah, I mean, since we just awarded the contract, that's part of the initial, site walk and, you know, planning stage that Bob.
I mean, please keep in mind that this is the municipal center, so it's facilities, so it's basically under Mr. Berger's
Right.
purview. And I just come along for the ride when I'm asked, you know, to join in. So, so at this point,
Yeah, 'cause I thought last year we were told that it was gonna start imminently.
Yeah,
So it's
then
imminently
there was
three
some-
hundred and sixty-five days, is that what imminent is?
at the minimum.
Government intimate.
No, there were some procurement glitches. There was a couple of things that caused this to take longer, I think, than anticipated. So
when it happens, it happens. So, but I'm sure it'll be beautiful.
So I had a question with
Sure.
the debt rolling off. That's like $250,000 less than last or than the FY24 budget. Is there like are you expecting to have like more revenue than expenses? Like, and I guess more generally. So I know with the general budget. Extra money, you know, glossing over details, eventually becomes free cash. In the sewer fund, it all stays in the enterprise fund. I'm just kind of curious what happens if
Dan, if I remember correctly, this was before Evan's time, yeah, but if I remember correctly, they had built up a surplus specifically for that studio upgrade.
Got it.
And then once that money's gone, it's gone, because you're seeing a decrease in your franchise fees now, so I don't think you're gonna see
yeah,
a surplus. Am I missing?
no, that's 100%.
Okay, I was gonna ask if you had plans to like build up a surplus again or something.
They're probably not making enough money to build up a surplus.
Okay.
Well, don't they have like, Bob had told me they have,
surplus.
don't they have like $1.2 million right now?
No, they have 761,000. That's what they closed with, and currently they have 889,000.
Oh, right, Bob told me to.
And it bumps up. I mean, it's like one day we
Correct.
have over 1 million,
Based
and the
on
next
his
day it drops down again.
expenditures.
So,
And the revenue received.
Yeah.
but I mean, this going into fiscal 25, I don't anticipate any major expenditures that'll, you know, put any strain on the budget.
Okay.
We were talking about getting a helicopter, so we can do live
to-
aerials.
But you said
To
drone.
punt that a couple of
Well,
fiscal years down. Now.
Another
If you've got
drone.
800,000, we can step it up from a drone conversation and put you in a helicopter.
So not only do we have to worry about the FCC, we now have to deal with the FAA. Great. Okay. Thanks.
No, just don't fly over 100 feet.
Yeah.
Well, great job, Bob.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else have any questions on cable TV? All right.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the day.
You as
You
well.
too.
Next up will be Chief Crapo. Do we know if he's
The other talking to the chief.
could be?
No, he won't.
Paul is still standing out there talking to everybody that walked by.
Here he is, right here. I found him.
Okay.
Thanks, Evan.
You're welcome.
Yep.
Just finished.
Yeah,
Timing's
Perfect.
Chief.
Perfect timing.
doesn't get any better.
Morning,
Good morning.
everybody. This is Deputy Chief Neil Minotti.
Nice to meet you.
Show him the ropes.
That's the
We
first
we
thing.
have,
teach us
We'll
when you go
show
to
them how to
ping pong.
use the chair.
Grand entrance.
We don't have fancy chairs like this at the police station.
So there's a packet in front of you if you need a copy of it. Your budget starts on page 9, if you'd like.
Actually, I have,
Come prepared.
Manila.
oh yeah. Hey,
Alright, so how are things going in the fire department? Sorry, the
couldn't tell you about the fire.
I'm sorry.
I think they have too much money, so, but, no, that's, yeah, everything's going well. We have somebody in the academy right now, which will bring us to our 24th. They're doing very well. I think they just did shooting.
Yeah,
They
last week.
qualified on the range and all that. So, this person's self-sponsored, so somebody that wants to be a police officer is willing to spend his own money to go through the academy, so we hired him while he's in there, so he's doing well. Other than that, we're doing pretty good. Having a couple of issues with our hybrid vehicles, not, everything they we were promised, so, what do we had, 2 of them in,
It seems like we constantly have
Yeah,
two that are
yeah.
out for service.
yeah, we have 4 hybrids, 2 of them were offline for over a month. At,
What's the issues, chief, that you're?
the batteries, yeah, batteries, the
That's what you
wiring.
were talking about, your other
yeah.
cars that you got.
Yep. Yeah, so, hopefully we're squaring those away, and the way they were wired, also, the biggest issue was when we had, the rains, the flooding and all that, they got wet, and they conked out. So, yeah, so that's something to, look at for the future. I don't think we're ready for electric and hybrids just yet, at least not in police service, so, we'll see what happens. Hopefully those problems are taken care of and they don't happen again, because we can't afford, we have a good fleet now, but we can't afford to have cars like that offline. So, not keeping up a fleet management program, so.
Alright. Okay, can you talk to us about your budget then?
Okay, well, you have it before you. Didn't get a chance to meet with anybody. Nobody came to see me. I felt very left out. this year.
I want to apologize.
Uh-huh.
That's my
That's-
fault.
I wasn't
No,
throwing
I
you
was
under the
gonna- I was
bus.
gonna do that. I've been out straight. I haven't had 2 seconds to myself, so
Yeah.
I apologize not coming to see you. But you're so good
Yeah,
with what you do that
that's
we
it.
really need to talk to
Yeah,
you.
yeah. I was gonna have a buffet ready for you, water and,
Well, I'll come
coffee
next
and
week.
pastries.
We'll talk
And,
about
oh, we have to throw it all
Now
out.
that there's a buffet involved.
Thank you
So-
for understanding.
No problem. No, well, I mean, if, you wanna go line by line, salaries, naturally, myself, administrative personnel right now working under contract. The administrative personnel went up a bit, not crazy, but, one thing we had to do this year, if I may, we had a person resign. They were actually a Worcester dispatcher. They came to us and they went back to Worcester, and that was back just before Thanksgiving, I think it was. It took us about 3 months to hire somebody because we weren't competitive. And there's tons and tons of dispatch openings out there now. So I talked to Evan about reclassifying the dispatchers. I mean, they're making $16, $18 an hour at Dunkin' Donuts. All right, putting out call. We were starting at like just about 21 for the responsibilities that the dispatchers have and all that. We had to do better. So, and once we did that, we brought them up what was it? Not a step, but
A grade.
What?
A grade.
A grade, yeah. And that seemed to help us get some interest. So we're doing pretty good with that now, hopefully. But otherwise, salaries, besides that grade increase, that's based on contract.
Okay.
Wages, permanent personnel, basically the steps there. We had, I don't know, did you take out the money for the, no, all right, so we had,
I don't think so.
we added the, another officer, but I don't know, that's not going.
Oh, so the other officer, yeah.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah.
we opted to do, so we're, as we've been talking about for 3 years, we're doing 5 officers in 5 years. This would have been, officer 5. This would have been the end. But budget's tight, and so what we opted to do was, we had created a lieutenant position, or opened a lieutenant position after creating the deputy chief position. So we're gonna move forward with filling the lieutenant position, and we'll leave that fifth officer for, fiscal 26.
And that'll bring the total number up, and you have that fifth officer.
25.
Next year.
25.
25.
25.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, which would still be,
Still about
because
10
we're,
short.
we're anticipating, well, I mean, the last census, brought us to 19,600, I believe it
Yep.
was. And with the apartments that we have in the works and everything that's going on, you know, we're gonna be probably close to, we're figuring 21, 22,000.
Yeah,
Probably.
minimally.
Yeah, yeah,
At build out Grafton's probably
Yeah.
26 to 30.
yeah. So with 25 officers, it still brings us back down now. You know, we're no longer a community of 18 or 16,000, so, we have to start thinking about more in the future, so. But, you know, as you can see in the notes, the breakdown of the officers that we have, and, doesn't include the, any negotiated increase, contracts are coming up, so, that's, you know, something to be considered. Special duty, we're staying the same. Overtime, we've stayed the same for several years now. You know, I know the question usually is with added officers and all that, but, there's still events, things that happen, we need the overtime. That's, you know, I don't ask for more, and we normally go over even with the extra bodies, because you don't know what's gonna happen. Just thinking next year, actually this year with the elections and all that stuff, I can see overtime being utilized for different things. So longevity, that's based on contract, once again, anybody over 15 years or older.
So it's gone down because you have fewer people?
What's that?
You said it's gone down this year, is that because
What-
there's fewer people?
What are you talking about, the
The
overtime?
longevity?
Oh, longevity, yeah, yeah, people that have, because of retirement, your senior people
Okay.
are leaving, so it takes the 15 to get to get that longevity stipend. Holidays naturally based on salaries, for, dispatch and sworn personnel. Quinn Bill, same thing. Let's see, shift differential, we add a little more because the shift differential went up for the dispatchers and their contract. So we were like right on the line from what we spent, what we've been spending, so we added a little bit more for that. Court attendance, we've been lucky the past couple of years. Court was closed for the most part during COVID, so we didn't have a lot. They didn't schedule a lot of hearings or trials or whatnot. I don't know how they got away with it, but they did. But now we're starting to get more people, so we're asking for the same for that. And stipends, as it states, we have a systems analyst, training coordinator, detectives. Everybody gets a stipend for the body worn camera program, plus additional for the administrators. The dispatch trainers, I mean, they get a whole $2 an hour to train a dispatch besides their regular pay, so. But that's all through the collective bargaining agreement. So that's salaries. If there's any questions?
No, I think we're good there.
All right, expenses, energy, you know, I kept that the same. We've been doing pretty good. Everybody shuts the lights off when they leave the room and all that. And we keep the thermostats at 58, so, just kidding. Nice constant 68 and that's it. Nobody abuses it, so, we've been good with that. But who knows, our gas bills this winter have been the highest I've seen since I've been here, so, you know, who knows where that's gonna go, but I didn't ask for an increase in that. Non-energy utilities, self-explanatory. We're not asking for an increase in building repair. Maintenance contracts, we're getting more and more, maintenance contracts, so we asked for a little bit more. As you can see what we have here, we're gonna be adding, we just had to, we used a grant to purchase, a new, it's called Equiture, it's a recording device for our 911 radios and whatnot. Cause 911 used to supply them, used to do the maintenance on them, but they're not doing that anymore. So we used our grant to purchase it, but maintenance contracts every year after that, we have to pay. We could probably take that from the grant, but that remains to be seen on that there. Rentals and leases, copy machines, of course, everything's going up, including paper and whatnot, so, we add another $1,000 there. Drug task force has not changed. Seminar fees, the reason why we've lowered the request for seminar fees. This year, I took that out of the promotional test that we're gonna be giving, that was taken out of that. We didn't have another line for it, so those tests will be done this year, and we'll go back to normal on our conference and seminar fees.
Okay.
Communications, we're asking for the same physical fitness testing, anticipating, we've been going over on that for different things, and there's a few employees that we have to pick up some of their co-pays and whatnot, so.
Okay.
Yeah,
request
there
one.
are issues that happen that aren't covered under 111F and our 111F insurance, but that the town still feels are work-related and we should cover, and so it comes out of that line.
So we're asking for more. Plus, we do have some retirements and whatnot. When they go, we have to rehire, which means we have to pay for a, physical and psychological. And just to let you know, right now, I've been hearing talk through POST, which is the Peace Officer Standards and Training, and MPTC, that they might be, this next round of recertifications, we might have to start re-giving psychologicals and physicals. If we have to do that, you're talking just a little under 1,000 per man. So that's gonna increase quite a bit this year, or at least into next year, if POST goes through with that. So,
What do they do to make that decision?
I don't know, they've been talking about it for a while. I'm on the board of directors for the Chiefs Association, and a lot of the chiefs aren't happy because that's an unfunded mandate. But we're gonna be stuck with it if they decide to do that, but they don't know yet. They've been having meetings and hearings and whatnot, and I know the chiefs aren't thrilled about it. Because you're talking $350, $375 for a psychological, and you're talking it's about $600-700 for a full physical, for a police physical, for them to go into the academy, because it's very thorough. So, we're talking over $1,000 per man, The only fortunate thing is when POST does their recertifications, if anybody follows, they do they break it down, because they can't do all the officers all at once. I mean, we're not a problem, but Boston, Worcester, whatever. So what they do is they break it down alphabetically. So the first group that was recertified, or certified under POST, were people whose names began from A through H. And then, they forward up. So there's 3 groups, so they could break it down. For us, it's maybe 6 or 7 per recertification year, so. But it'll come up at once.
And so that cost, if they want to do the physical and psychological, that would be only for that group, not
That
for
group,
all?
yeah.
Okay.
But you're still talking, I don't know, without looking at the roster, you still be talking anywhere from 6,000 to 9,000.
Right. And so
yeah.
for each individual officer, it would happen every 3 years?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If they decide to do it every 3 years, I don't know if they just want to clear it out of the way, because when we first started doing the certification, there's a difference between certification and recertification through POST. If they want to do that, it's going to be, say they might want to just do physicals every 3 years, and they might request more. It's up to them. They don't really tell us what's going on until they have a hearing or whatever. So, but like I said, you're talking close to $1,000 for each officer, And if we get somebody new that's through the academy, they've already got their physical, they've already got their psychological. And for the certification, I started to say, I had to attest, the department head has to attest to that they had a physical, which we do. A lot of departments, I was surprised, don't do some departments don't do psychologicals. And these officers are carrying guns, and they don't make them do psychologicals, but now they're gonna get on board. So I think that's where they wanted to make sure everybody had it, and it's kind of I would think it's a good feature. I don't think we get anything off on our insurance, but it's a good feature to have your officers take a psych test to make sure they're fit physically and
I agree.
psychologically.
I wish it was funded for you guys, but.
Yeah, no, but that's what they do,
I mean,
Town
It
administrators
makes
need a
sense
psych
to
test
test
too.
them.
Yeah,
None of us would.
No.
I was gonna say, that's the criteria. If you don't pass, you're good. Right?
You can do this, Jack.
Yeah. Okay. Office supplies, we're not asking for any increase. Same thing with parking tickets. Custodial, we've been pretty good with that. And I just wanna shout out to our staff, maintenance staff. They do an excellent job. People still come to the police station. We do a lot of training here. And everybody says, is this a new building? Because the custodial staff does a fantastic job maintaining the building. Vehicular supplies, we've been lucky. A lot of the, what I was talking about, maintenance and all that stuff, repairs, that's because we have newer vehicles. We're not paying for all this. It's all under warranty, which is good. It's not good that we don't have the car to use, but, so.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that didn't go up, but it makes sense with newer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, so, meals, same thing, uniforms, that, went up, from the last contract. So, that just reflects that, plus not only sworn personnel, but dispatchers also, they get a small increase. Police officers' equipment, that's, purchasing the equipment that we have for the new officers, weapons, ammunition, tactical, we have to do more training, and especially when we're using firearms, bullets are not cheap, So, and, we're providing more tactical equipment because it's a sign of the times. We see what's been happening in Worcester and other areas. So we want to make sure our officers have what they need to do their jobs and stay safe. Dues and memberships, there's more, we requested more on that for obvious reasons, different organizations that we have to belong to.
So is that just increase in individuals? You're not joining any new ones?
No, it's, pretty much what you see here. We take dues and memberships also for our CAD system. You see it, that PMAM and Planet. Planet's a scheduling software. The PMAM is software that we use for training.
Okay.
Notices and all that. And what's nice with this is Neil does the maintenance on that, and it's basically we put out a policy, we put out training, whatever. He sends it out with a deadline. People have to read it and sign for it, and there's a signed receipt in the computer in the database that says, yeah, I read it. So if something happens and you say, well, I never got that, well, here's your signature, here's a date, you said you read it, you understood it, you had questions, you didn't ask the questions, and whatnot. So that's important to have nowadays for liability, and just so that everybody gets the same message. So replacement equipment, we usually request that for portables, for that we're gonna, our portables are old, and we're gonna have to start thinking about purchasing new ones, amongst other things. As you see now, we use traffic control agents. With all the details that we have out there, we're allowing firefighters and dispatchers to work as traffic control agents, and we need to have radios for them so they can communicate at the construction sites.
Would any of that come under the grant for the
911?
The combined dispatch?
Yeah, that's a 911
Eventually, yes.
grant.
Eventually,
Yeah.
okay.
But,
And-
if we're 2 years, 3 years away from that, I think the chief does a great job of replacing what's needed and then holding off on things that we think we can get across the finish line, but.
Okay, so
a lot
that
of this
doesn't
stuff-
kick in right away.
Even if we stand the wreck up tomorrow, you're not gonna have, there's procurement process, there's gonna be prioritization of funding. So if Grafton needs a tower more than it needs portables, then we're gonna push for a tower,
Okay.
So, I think it's worthy to just keep in there and keep refreshing.
Sounds good.
For the, for the time being, we could do that. I mean, because once we do get into the wreck or whatever, we're gonna have to look at the infrastructure for sure, whether we get into the wreck or not. But radios, which nowadays most departments, 99% I would say of the departments are going to the multi-band radios. Our portables we pay probably $1,000 for right now. The multi-bands probably about $8,000 a piece. So they're not cheap, and there's not too many. It's pretty much a sole source vendor between Motorola, and then there's Harris, which works down south I don't see anybody with Harris radios. And there's another brand out there that's a little cheaper and,
Yeah,
I don't know,
Kenwood.
Kenwood's, yeah.
They're more popular with the fire side.
Yeah,
Because they have different colors, I think. Is
yeah,
the,
that's, yeah, yeah.
firefighters
And-
like,
and-
you know, the swag.
and Radio Shack doesn't make radios anymore, so
Yeah.
you know, so so that's pretty much it. The as far as the cruisers go,
Yep, we
Looking at
pulled
that?
them, yeah, we put them into the operational budget when we got here, because that's where we believe it should be. We don't have enough money, so we pulled it back out and put it into capital. So, I mean, our long-term goal is that it lives in the operational budget and stays there.
'Cause
But,
that's what we did with the fire equipment, we put that
Yep,
in the budget
correct.
3 years ago so that it stayed in there.
yep,
We
yep,
should definitely do that with the cruisers as well.
I agree. So it's just a matter of having the capacity to do it. So that's.
yeah.
Given,
Okay.
given the, trouble you're having, you're gonna go back to regular cruisers? Are you gonna,
And yeah, gas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you're not
time
gonna,
being.
you're not gonna do the hybrids anymore?
No. You know, like I said, we have 4, and for whatever reason, you know, and as a matter of fact, there was some talk. People seem to like the Chevy Tahoes, you know, which are nice. I think they're a little big, but so we're gonna look to see about the price difference in that. They were about even keel, the gas engines, but now, from what I understand, they've gone up substantially, probably to the tune of $6,000 more than a Ford Explorer. So if we can make it work, you know, we'll make it work. But
Yeah, I think Chevy
yeah,
put them out at a loss in the last 2 fiscal years to
Yeah.
get departments into them.
Yeah.
Then once departments get into them,
Mhm.
now you've got all
You've
the
equipped it
cage,
and all
all the
that
stuff.
stuff,
yeah.
You got to
And that's
stay
the
with the
problem.
platform.
yeah, and it's probably not gonna matter because I've been told that the 25s,
Mhm.
the 25 Explorers, they're changing the body style again, which means the cages might not work. You know, they might be able to retrofit, but I don't know. Light bars, consoles, whatever. The cage is a big deal. You know, you're talking over $2,000 for.
Just like a cell phone,
Yeah,
change all the connections every
Yeah.
couple of years.
Just when you thought you were
One time to the next.
Yeah.
be able to reuse them, you're not gonna be able to again.
yeah, exactly. It's the game they play, and you know we have to stick by what they have. You know, so unfortunately, that's the only thing that's available. So, and what they're also doing, from what I've been told, is they're not putting out as much, so everybody's got a mad dash. So when they come out, chiefs buy them. You know, they scramble to get them, and so that they have them. But like I said, it's a game, and it's getting worse. So
Buy 20 of them,
we've been lucky, yeah.
put them in the garage.
So, but that's basically it. No surprises. We're not asking for a ton more, and where we are asking for more, naturally, there's a need.
And you're gonna be starting collective bargaining with the union?
Yep, starting next week actually. So
So you have money somewhere to deal with that?
yeah, within a certain
Oh,
set
understood.
of parameters.
It's a paper bag.
You have
in
the
his
cruiser-
office.
you
Just
have
saying,
that cruiser-
we're starting next week. We don't want to put that narrative out.
Yeah.
We already got money. Don't worry about it. Yeah. So we do have we always do when we go into collective bargaining. We set aside what we think is a reasonable amount, and then if it's over that, then we gotta go back and retro and blah blah blah. But we try not to.
Hope to have it settled by July.
Yeah, I don't know. The last one we were in it for over pretty much a year, but I think that was a little bit of the old, a little bit of the new, and just kind of getting our relationship developed. I don't think it'll be like that this year.
One thing, if I may,
Yeah.
one thing, we're definitely not at the top. We're definitely not at the very bottom, but for what we do, for the size of the town and all that stuff, population, land mass, whatever, and just calls for service, we could be higher. And the big thing nowadays with most departments is the educational incentive, otherwise known as Quinn Bill. Years ago, we cut the Quinn to basically less than half. Yeah, for new people, so people coming on the stipends. Yeah, so that's something we're to think of, because more and more departments now are going back to full Quinn, and that's one of the things. Of course, the people that have it, they want to negotiate for something else, but you know, but we have to incentivize people. We're not getting as many people as we should be. We don't have a big enough pool, and that's everywhere. But let's put it this way: 4 years ago, when we got out of civil service, we gave a test, had about 84 people take the test over at the high school. 2 years ago, we had about 76 people come out, and I advertise everywhere, not only just Facebook. I send anybody that had a criminal justice course in Massachusetts, or colleges or whatever. I contacted their, I don't know what you call it, counseling services or whatever, and they put it out there, you know, besides the academies and all that. All right, so we had about 76. This year, well, that's last year now.
Last year.
Well, yes, last year now. We gave the test, we had 8. That's it. You know, whether the interest is waning and getting law enforcement, what's been going on, or, you know, it's sad. 8 people applied, but it's like that all over. Even civil service, you know, which you take a test and, you know, police, state police, whatever, the interest is waning. So you have to have a reason. You have to be able to incentivize people to come to this department. You know, we've been lucky. We've got great people that we're hiring, but it's not like, I mean, the people we have are great, but it's nice to have a big pool to look at too, and that's not happening anymore everywhere. You know, so we got to think about that.
If I could, there's social media groups, right, law enforcement related social media groups, and it's almost funny to watch when openings come up in other, you know, they'll put that on there with everything, all the benefits, and that's that's what it is now.
Yeah.
Even the kids that are in the academies that are self-sponsored, you know, they'll call about an opening, but the first thing they're asking for is, can you send me a copy of the contract? And they all compare notes at the academies, and they'll start picking off, you know, which I understand, but, you know, it wasn't like that years ago.
Yes, no.
Yeah, I'll just take the job, I'll figure out what I'm getting paid later.
I work for everything now. Yeah,
It's changed.
they want to know what they're gonna make, how much time off they're gonna get, and you know, it's not even. Used to be details and all that. Now it's not even that. A lot of our new people don't even work
they don't work.
details. Yeah, they just, you know. But
How much is it to be self-funded to go through the academy?
it depends if you go to like when he's going to Quinn Sigmund.
10,000.
10,000.
They pay out of
Yeah.
pocket.
Fitchburg, I believe is the same, and they pay out of pocket. They pay, you know, for everything. So
That's the cost of it, not including you can't be doing another job, you gotta
Right.
get, you know, like
Right.
that.
exactly, you know,
Yeah.
You
the
know,
regular
that's-
it's
MPTC, what we pay is about 3. So.
How's the call volume been? Is up, down compared to the past?
Well, it's still up there. Yeah, I didn't bring that, we've got over 20,000 calls. So,
It, from when we last spoke, it seemed to be slightly higher than the previous year, but not grossly higher, so. Within 1,000 calls of what was happening previously.
but it's not all calls too, you know, it's just monitoring the traffic and this and that, and it's, you know, and plus you have to realize too, it's, not everything is, I shouldn't say is called out, but, you know, speaking with the public and all that stuff, and, you know, just, oh, can I talk to you for a second, and, you know, every little thing that, every time they stop the car, it's not called in, so. But there are other things that keep them busy too. You know, our school resource officer, we could use a second one.
Oh, yeah.
As busy as he is. And a lot of stuff, unfortunately, it's drama. I think it's drama brought on by social media for the most part, you know, but it is what it is. And we're doing a lot of things that maybe police departments shouldn't be involved in, but they are, because there's no one else to turn, you know. What's nice, one thing we're doing, which is, did we have it last year? For the, we have a clinician. Yeah, we did have it last year. Yeah. So we have a clinician that goes out. We get it 2 days a week, but she can come out. She works between us, Sutton and Millbury. So she's at one of the stations in the afternoon. And she's come in quite handy for different things, you know. So
Would having our own full-time person, I'm pretty sure I asked this last time and you said the answer was basically no, but had to change. Would a full-time person for our department be
Clinician?
Yeah, clinician. Be like worth it and help carry more of that burden.
What burden is that?
Well, the other thing, like you said, officers doing things and maybe officers aren't
Well,
necessarily
most
the
of,
best,
you
we don't
know,
now.
she goes with the officers. There's nothing I would say.
Okay.
I mean, talking to somebody is one thing, but she's not gonna go on calls by herself.
Right.
You know, so, but she helps out, with different things and, you know, like we bring in a prisoner, she talks to the prisoner to make sure they're not suicidal or they don't have any issues or whatever. Domestic violence cases, they'll talk to them. If they wanna be, you know, and they do follow-up too, some follow-up on, different mental health calls that we have.
Yeah, you mentioned last time it's a lot of follow up stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and that's what you have to do to keep it from happening again. You know, I noticed that we do a weekly report, and well-being checks start going up. Everybody's calling for well-being checks. You know, so a lot of mental health issues out there, and you know, we can help, but we can't solve their problems, and neither can the clinician. It's something that's got to be, it's family dynamic or personal problems or whatever that you know, we're not trained and we never will be trained for that kind of thing. So, but the idea of clinicians going on calls by themselves and that's never going to happen.
I think what's also good with her is that she's a resource for the town.
Yeah.
If, you know, she might not be able to help, but she definitely will tell, and
Mm-hmm.
because, you know, I know people who have been in contact with her, and she definitely can help people.
Oh yeah.
She,
Yeah,
you know,
navigate the system or
a
know
lot of
where to
people don't know
connect.
what's available. I mean,
Exactly,
we discussed
you
this
know.
with Barbara. People don't know what's available, and she's really good at telling people where they can go to find services. So
They work.
if we can't do it, she can find people. who
Yeah,
can.
they work co-response. She does some follow-up, but we also have follow-up that's done by the Blackstone Valley Connector here in Uxbridge and Northbridge. Northbridge. So, you know, with different resources, like you said, you know, follow-ups, mental health issues, homelessness, you know, things like that.
Right. Anyone else have any questions? Chief?
Great
Thank
job,
you.
Chief.
Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Chief, good to see you as well.
Yeah.
This chair's gonna get the best of me, yeah.
Wait till you have to sit in the other one.
Okay, see ya.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Any
Great day.
questions, anybody, feel free to give me a call. Thank you. Take care.
What's the number, Chief?
Yeah.
What's the number they call it?
It's on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
So next up is recreation on page 19, and we have Adam online.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Actually, it starts on page 18, very bottom of page 18. Welcome, Adam. I believe this is your first time coming to FinCom. Is that
Yes, my first one in Grafton. So,
all right? Well, welcome. Glad to have you join us this morning. Can you tell us a little bit about how recreation is doing these days?
yeah, sure. So to kind of give you a kind of a snapshot of numbers. And to give you some background, I've been here since August, so I haven't really seen a full summer, which is our biggest busy season. But I'll kind of give you the data from what I've pulled through from last fiscal year. So in fiscal year 2023, we offered about 150 programs. We had about 3,600 participants in those programs. We had 12 events and about 4,000 attendees. And we brought in per program revenues through all of our programs about $500,000. And then for fiscal 24, we're basically above in all areas. So we're currently at 4,400 program participants in all of our programs with 15 extra programs offered compared to last fiscal year. We have 7 events right now, which is technically less, but we have a lot of programs that come up in the spring. So it's a lower number, but it'll balance out as the spring comes. Again, event attendees, we're at 3,000. We'll get more as we have those spring programs. And our current program revenues are at $454,000. That does not include about $140,000 of revenues we just received a couple weeks ago as we opened up spring and summer registration. So again, we're trending upwards, which is always a good sign. So I just wanted to kind of give you a snapshot of where we are and where we're going. And I can more than happy to ask questions, particularly about the budget that we're proposing for next year, or other questions you may have.
Okay. Any general questions before we start? Budget? Okay, so we're looking at salaries. We see department head and permanent personnel increases, I think those are all, contractual or, the town charts, there's no changes in, personnel for the permanent.
Nope. Yeah. My position, department head, and the two roles that we have aren't changing. It's just they're either contractual raises every year, and then also for our annual increases as well. So.
Okay, we're seeing a decrease for seasonal permanent for Silver Lake. Are you expecting fewer people working there?
So when I was doing research on this, there actually was a clerical error done by the prior rec director. So she ended up double including two positions. So we were fully staffed last summer, and we are currently at about $91,000 of salaries for this fiscal year.
Okay.
And we'll end off right at about 104 by the end of this fiscal year with setup for the beach. So it was just a clerical error. So that's just like I said, just an error. So.
Any other questions on salaries? All right, expenses. What kind of changes are we looking at this year?
Yes. So outside of some of the stuff, like our energy bills, we're budgeting a 20% contingency for that, which is $200 extra in that line. The biggest changes would be in our professional technical line, excuse me. This past year, we decorated the common that was sponsored by the revolving account for recreation, just to kind of, that was one of the big things coming in, was a lot of people were looking for a more decorated common, and this past year came out of the revolving account. We're looking to expand that, and all of that increase basically includes about $17,000 in decorations, and then also about $3,000 more for our new recreation software. So our old recreation software wasn't as customer friendly as we wanted it to be, and this new software has a lot of great features. One including credit card refunds. Typically, in the past, if somebody wanted a refund for a program, they would either get a credit on the website itself to use for future programs, or they would have to get a check, and the checks take 6 to 8 weeks. So this new software has been very helpful for us to be able to expand our customer service. So that's the biggest changes in regards to comparatively between the two fiscal years. And I think that's the biggest one, I think.
Yeah, the other ones, there's some that look high in percentage, but fairly small in dollar amounts.
Yeah.
Okay. Does anyone else have any questions on recreation? All right, do you have anything else you'd like to add for us?
How's the playground coming up at,
Norcross?
yeah?
So yeah, we just DPW just finished preparing the space last week. So the Emmy O'Brien, which is the company we're using for the actual project, is starting the work in a couple weeks, and we're hoping by the end of April to have the project fully ready to go. So we're moving as best as we can with the weather that we've had. So
All the stuff is up there.
Yeah, I saw that when I went by the other day.
yeah, all the stuff is up on the playground, wrapped up, ready to be installed. So it's all there. We're waiting anxiously for the playground to be built. So we're excited.
It's mud season, so that slows everything down a little bit.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, thank you very much for coming in. Nice to meet you.
Thanks,
Thank you, everybody.
Okay, next up will be Council on Aging, page 17. Do you have anything else you want to look at while we're waiting, or should we do a 10-minute break?
Whatever you want to do. Take a break.
Okay, take a break for 10 minutes.
I didn't just text the lady from the party down there and see what time they want the proclamation. The 90th, surprise 90th birthday party in the senior center today, so I gotta bring a proclamation down there. Proclaim it.
Proclaim the Grafton Select Board wishes Ellen a happy 90th birthday.
Love that.
I hope she's not watching on Zoom. We ruined the surprise.
No, this isn't live. Oh, on Zoom it would be live, but she's a 90-year-old lady. I just said that.
You suggesting seniors can't be tech savvy, or
My grandmother's the first like on every Facebook post we put out. So
love that.
96.
Love that.
Bam. And then she'll call me about it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, you don't live here.
She-
She's in Ludlow.
You're doing so good with the tech, and then she calls you
Yeah.
instead of texting.
Oh no, she sends texts.
Oh, okay.
Text.
All right.
She has her own avatar that gets put out every morning of whatever it is, like
Oh.
great day, and it's
Oh,
like
I
this
hate
old
those
lady.
things.
I know,
Love that.
but she's into it.
My grandma's always the first one to wish my friends happy birthday
Yeah.
on Facebook.
Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning. Get up early, just get it done.
She's only 82.
Yeah.
Early bird.
Do we have a 25th officer?
No.
Okay.
Well, no. We have 24. One will get shifted into the lieutenant spot. We'll fill that, but we won't add another position.
Okay.
Till 26.
Till 26. Well, hopefully.
Are you
That's the plan.
are you sad you didn't get 25 by 25?
No, so I'm a year ahead of schedule.
Oh, okay.
So I'm okay.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons I didn't.
You
I
really loved saying 25 by 25.
5 and 25. That was the way to do it. No, 25 and 5 is what I say. So
Okay.
I got 5 years to get up to 25
Okay.
officers. So I'm 1 year ahead, so I can still keep my promise
Cool.
to the officers that that's what we would do.
Really want to know if anybody uses this little calculator. It's always been here.
A lot of this stuff's always been it's been here since I've been here.
What's that?
Is that even?
The stuff
Little
in these
calculator.
bins.
Is that even a lot? Like this doesn't. It can't work. Can it?
There's
No.
Yeah.
Oh, it does.
Solar.
Wow.
Yeah.
there's like
It's not-
reading
What
glasses that
solar
have
is
been
it
here
getting
for a
in here?
decade.
Yeah.
These things work off like the lights. That's how little energy they use. Ask Joe about it.
So there is no longer lipstick up here. That got thrown away.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was it you that threw it away? Yeah. She was like, "This is disgusting. Why is it?" There?
Yeah, that's gross.
I'm not gonna touch it.
So well, we don't know. We don't know it's disgusting. We don't know.
It's gross. You don't. We're gonna reuse somebody's lipstick.
I don't touch anything in any of these bins, just to be clear. I never have. Even if I need a pen, I'll walk to my office. I'm not using that pen.
I found a melted Jolly Rancher in one of them.
Ew.
I don't know if that was worse than the lipstick.
Wonder how it
Amber's
melted.
the real hero of the municipal center. Because all the stuff that we were two children, chicken and do. Thank you.
Yeah.
Every
I was
once in a while,
half children and half chicken.
Got ya.
The chuckling.
every once in a while, I remember how long it took, and how many times we had to like adjust the position until we got Amber, and I'm like, man, it ended out pretty well.
It did. It did. It was almost worth the pain.
Oh, nice. There's a. Wait,
Amber and I have spent a lot of time together this week. This is probably hour 60 we've been in the same room. She's done with me.
she's gonna take Timber and put him in a drawer, and you'll never find him again.
Zimber comes in, he just sits on her lap while she's over there doing stuff at her computer.
Therapy dog for
Yeah,
everyone.
absolutely. Yeah, after we had that medical thing last week, brought him in for 2 days, and we saw pretty much all the staff. Everybody was like, "Oh, this is our therapy dog." That's right, sure is.
I'm still trying to figure out how we used to stretch these Saturday budget meetings over three Saturdays.
3 Saturdays.
Yeah, I don't know how that
I said that
happened.
this morning to my husband. I'm like, I
Well,
just
we used to
3
bore people to death
Saturdays.
and we had everybody come in.
We did. Well, and we had the
And-
school. We had everybody. We didn't have the Wednesday ones.
To take a line from Eric, in the past, a lot of what is now self-evident was not.
Well, we didn't have all the like ClearGov and everything. We didn't have everything.
Well, yeah, there's the little notes in there
Yeah.
from
We didn't
from.
have all
Yeah, we
that.
don't have as much notes this year. I didn't spend as much time adding notes as I have in years
Slacking
past.
on the
I know.
notes.
I feel like for like the bigger things, there's still notes.
no,
though.
yeah.
Like the things where you'd have a concern,
Right,
there's a note
right.
that
Yeah, there-
explains it, and then you don't have a
There's
concern.
nothing in there I don't think that's foggy, but I usually have like, last year we had almost a note on almost every line that, so if you were new or hadn't seen the budget before,
We can,
looking at it online.
we can carry forward the notes next year.
Right, so I was going back and forth with Mary, and when I talked to different departments, I said it's kind of a pain in the butt to have to keep the old spreadsheet that we used to keep
Right,
through all that stuff, and then
copy your
turn and
notes.
import it every year.
yeah.
And we
That
found that,
feature was not there.
No, I actually emailed them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had sent them an email and said, one feature I think we're missing is to be able to carry forward notes.
well,
Right.
and
So,
that,
but I emailed them and
Oh, you did too?
then they gave me like a snippet and they're like, oh, you could do this next year, but it was not there
No.
when
when we first did it.
No.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it will be so much easier
Yeah.
to put stuff in there, and then like at the bottom,
Right.
in our case, like every 3 years, replace this, replace this, replace this.
Yep.
You know, so you
Well,
don't
just
have
for
to
us,
do-
like most of it's salary and COLA.
Yeah,
That doesn't change. We didn't, unless we did a salary study or we did something different. So click the button, send it forward, and then tweak things. It's gonna be so much better.
Yeah, from you guys like talking about how responsive they are. Every once in a while, I check their careers page.
Oh,
See
yeah.
if they're hiring software engineers.
Yeah, yeah.
Sounds like a nice place to work.
Yeah. No, we
They're never hiring software engineers.
no.
No.
Product managers,
Our head rep is Anna Balcoa.
And
Well,
she
because
She
lives
lives in Grafton.
UI
Which is
slash
pretty cool.
visual designer, closest thing they have right now.
East Central
Product.
time zone.
East, yeah. No, they're where are they based at? They're in like Massachusetts or something.
They are in Massachusetts.
Yeah, I don't know if they're headquartered in Massachusetts because they got ClearGov got bought by
Oh.
Oh.
OpenGov or some. I don't know, they're all
Another
some
gov.
Gov, OpenGov, ClearGov,
So many govs.
ViewGov.
money gov.
Yeah, but oh, here's Shannon coming in.
Maynard. That's the address at the bottom of the website.
Nice. Hi, Shannon. Oh, you're muted.
Good morning.
Morning. I don't know if we're still in. We might still be in a break.
Okay.
Might be a short
All right,
minute,
I can
too.
hang out.
Yeah, it's been 8, so wait a couple more minutes. In case anybody who's, although there's nobody online
Yeah, we're all
to see
here.
it.
To
Yeah,
deal with it.
We're all here.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we're not streaming, right?
No.
All right. Okay, Shannon, welcome.
Thank you.
And how are things over in the Council on Aging?
Things are going well. I don't know if you got the data that I sent over.
We did have a presentation come, but I had not had a chance to look at it yet.
Yeah, it's only a couple slides. I just wanted to
Okay.
show that the growth that we have had in the past year, definitely fiscal year 2022, we're still seeing the effects of COVID, but 2023, we're up and cruising again. We've had
Yeah, if you want to show that,
increases-
that'd be good.
What's
Can
that?
are you able to share? Do we need to give you permission for that?
You probably have to give me permission.
Amber, you doing that?
Amber's on. All right. Okay, you should be able to now.
She got quiet.
A lot of clicks to get that done.
Takes me a minute. Come on. How's that?
That's
See?
good, thank you.
Yep, you can just see 2022 versus 2023, increase in total senior population, increase in total people served. We've been really trying to bring in a lot more educational and wellness programs and seeing more growth there as well. And as well as our transportation and everything, our meals. It's just, we've been trying to get back to being a booming senior center. And I think we've been doing that successfully, which has been great. And I just also showed you in a chart too, because you can see the continued growth here. 2021, we had the big dip during COVID. But everything's going there. And then just to show you where we're at right now during fiscal year 2024, so the first 8 months, we're really starting to get to more than halfway there. We're meeting all the same data there. So we're continuing to grow and thrive, which has been awesome.
Okay, so I noticed there's a dip in outreach. What is specifically outreach?
That I was actually just talking to Lisa about that yesterday. I think part of it was during COVID, she was doing a lot more phone calls and things like that, and so really documenting that. And
Okay.
actually, so she moved offices in the past year and a half, I think, at this point. And she's been so much busier with doing more quick things, and so not necessarily just documenting as many within the chart. So we're not capturing it as much. So I think we need to relook at that. But she's very much cruising as far as outreach goes.
All right. Here, does anyone have any questions on this data? Okay, let's, can we look at your budget then?
Sure, I'll stop sharing.
Sure, so, the increases, department head, administrative personnel, wages, I think that is all standard increases, no changes in personnel or anything?
Nope.
So am I reading this right that the personnel looks like it's level funded? Is that, or am I reading this wrong?
Yeah, just a little wrong. So
Okay.
I think
Just a little bit.
There are no comments.
Huh?
Where are the comments?
I know that's what I'm talking about. I didn't have time to do it. So no, we're up about 5% in the salary lines from last year, which is consistent with cost of living adjustment and step increases. So nothing out of the ordinary there.
Okay. I must have my. Oh wait, yeah, there it is. For some reason it's the change number is $0, but when I look at the actual numbers, it's obviously higher. Yeah.
If there was no change, I probably would have said something.
Yeah.
It's in a bug report to
Yeah.
Dear Glove.
Yeah.
Okay,
Minimal change than otherwise.
expenses look mostly flat, increase in in-state travel and dues and membership.
Mm-hmm. And the dues and membership is because we pay dues to the Massachusetts Council on Aging, and so this past year they went up on their dues because they're basing it off of the 2020 census data.
All right, does anyone else have any other questions? Anything else you want to tell us about, Shannon?
No, not really. I think the biggest change that we had in our budget was from last year was adding in that programs budget, and that's been huge and letting us have some more flexibility in what we bring into the senior center. And so I'm happy with that and what we've been doing with that.
Thank you very much for your time, and thanks for all you do for our seniors.
Yeah, before Shannon
Thank
goes,
you.
I just want to say, so
yeah.
I do office hours once a month down at the senior center, although this month they were playing bingo and nobody wanted to deal with me at all.
Oh, chaotic down there.
Could not have been less interested to see me there. But universally, I hear how great the senior center is doing and how wonderful a job Shannon is doing, and I really appreciate having her down there as a partner because it shows that the more education and the more social training and social group stuff that they're doing down there, I think is really making a difference. So
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
good to hear.
it is.
I also said with the numbers you showed at the beginning, we didn't say much about them, but I just want to say I appreciate seeing that. That was really interesting to see the 10%
Thank you.
increase in population. It's
Skip it, I have
Serious.
2 seniors on this board.
Yeah, we
right
just
now,
made it, so just watch.
Oh, congratulations.
Use their son.
You're part of that 10%.
Yeah.
And we are doing a big open house next month to kind of highlight all the different programs, social supports, everything that we offer, and we're hoping to reach out to a greater part of the community and get more folks in here to really utilize. It's not just a place we do play bingo, even though we do sometimes. It's fun.
It was St. Patrick's bingo. It was a sea of green. And
Yeah,
the first thing I heard was, "Why aren't you wearing green?"
yeah.
I don't
Sorry
know. I'm
about
here for
that.
office hours. I didn't know it was a requirement. But yeah, no.
Evan looked a little overwhelmed walking in there.
Oh yeah, I was a deer in the heads. Like, I can't do an office hour with this many people. I can't do it.
You thought they were all there for you?
I did.
There for bingo.
I just assume everybody's always here for me. We're town administrators. We're born narcissists. I just assume,
Okay, I see.
if I wasn't here, none of this could happen.
I see.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Shannon,
Thank you.
for indulging me.
Thank you. See everyone.
Have a good day.
Bye.
Next up is town clerk and elections and registration on page 4. And Candy, are you ready to present to us?
Yes, I am.
All right. Can you give us a little overview of how things are going with town clerk and elections and registration this year?
So it's a busy year, as you know. So we're up against 4 elections. So we have the big presidential in November. We just finished our presidential primary, which, as of Tuesday, we finally had everything certified and completed for that. And we're now working on our local election. And then we also have one in September. So we're doing pretty good. I mean, with the people we have. We're very fortunate for some of our election workers who are coming and helping and to help us to accomplish everything that we need. As you know, probably with hearing from most towns, the mail-in ballots and early voting and then election day prep is quite taxing on the department at times. We had about 2,700 mail-in ballots, I want to say, for the presidential primary that we have to process. And it takes about 7 minutes per ballot to mail that out to a person. So that just kind of shows you the impact it has along with everything else that we do. So that's what we're doing, and we're just plugging along as we do. So shall we get into it?
Anyone have any general questions before we go into the budget? Okay, go ahead.
All right. So this year, and I do have to apologize because I did have a little issue with submitting, so we kind of just put in what we had from last year because we went through pretty much our budget stays the same, so we did that, increased a couple little things. So as you know, our office currently is down a full-time person, but we do have a part-time, so we just posted for that internally to hopefully fill that full-time position. So salary will be a little bit different with that because of pay rate, obviously, and the person that was there for a long time. We have our assistant clerk who's there and learning the ropes. Overtime, we're pretty much keeping the same as well. We don't have longevity anymore in there due to the other person leaving. Professional and technical, basically staying the same for town clerk. It's the same things every year that we have to purchase. Conference and seminars, same thing. It's the same amount. I haven't heard of any increases yet. Office supplies, pretty much the same. We're able to do it with what we have, and in-state travel and dues and memberships. So that's pretty much where we're at with the clerk budget.
Any
And I'll
questions
have a little
on?
bit more for elections.
Okay, we're good here and move on to the next one.
All right, so election, everything stayed the same pretty much with that as well. The salary thing for the stipend, wages. So depending on, this year, obviously we have to hold early voting and hours. So we kind of scaled that to be a, number of what we anticipated. So there might be a little bit of a, change to that depending on, people and what we need and, workload. but I don't anticipate too much happening with the election worker wages. Registrars are staying the same. Overtime, pretty much we can work with what we have with that. Repair and maintenance, obviously same thing again. Office supplies, and we did increase the food because, as we know, food is really expensive, and so we had to do a little increase in that. And we lost our caterer, who was local, and he retired, so he was making no money off of us. So he literally was doing it as his civic duty, and now we're going out to other people or places, and it's just a little bit of an increase in food costs because of that.
Okay. Anyone have any questions on that? Okay. Thank you very much for your time. Anything else you think we need to know?
No, I was looking at I was talking with Mary. I was looking at a high-speed tabulator that is new that a few towns have, but it's like 25,000, especially because of the early voting. You can use this, and it does, I believe, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I think they had like 70-something ballots it processed in like a minute. So I am looking into that, and we'll probably have more to come if that's something that we can swing with, money in our budget that we have for the grant line. And we did accomplish getting all of our new voting booths for all 6 precincts. So we're plugging along and getting equipment and prepared for in 10 years when we have to gain another precinct. We're slowly getting the equipment and supplies that we need for that. So it's not a big cost to the town all at once. So just a little bit of a heads up on that.
So the high-speed tabulator, would that be update for the precinct ones, or is that be a single separate?
No,
unit
that'd be
for-
a separate one where we could do like advanced opening and depositing. So that would help with that.
Right. And for those of you who don't know, she talked about having a 6th precinct. You need a precinct for every 4,000 people, and we were 19,600 our last census, so we needed an increase of under 400 people over the next 10 years to require a new precinct, probably 2032. So it's almost guaranteed that we'll be going to 6 precincts then.
Oh, we will. I was able to stop this year.
Yes, Mark?
Can we go
Say
back
2020.
I don't understand, 7 minutes to process a ballot, what does that mean?
So by the time we timed it, so when we get a postcard that the state mails into us, we have to go into the system. We have to enter it into the system. There's a couple different screens, and then by the time you get that, stuff the ballot, enter everything in. It's just the process it takes to get the ballot, put the postage on it. So that's what we were timing everything as we are in the clerk's world right now, just to show the impact of how certain things are evolving in the office, and so we have some data.
Is the state gonna try to improve that and make it easier for you? Cause that's a lot of time for one vote.
Yeah, yep. I'm not sure. I mean, we're trying. I'll tell you that at conferences they are discussing it. So, what we do is we're told, we do what we're told and we make it happen. So, we can only offer our input and some data as to, how it works and the time frame, and hopefully they take that into consideration and move forward with that.
So is that time to mail out a single ballot, or does that also include some of the processing time when they come back in?
Oh yeah, the processing time too. It's the whole scale.
Yeah, and they come back in, they have to stamp them in, open them.
That's why I was trying to understand what the 7 minutes was.
Yep. I'm sorry. Yeah.
How did we do for numbers on in-person early voting this year? Do you know?
Oh, I didn't bring that with me. We didn't do too well. We did track, or I did track by hour, which I can, provide next week when I'm back in. But we didn't really have, that many people come in and vote. As we do with any primary, we knew it was going to be low numbers. So, but we did it. It's what we had to do, and
I think from the numbers I remember, we were between 3 and 4 people per hour. For voting, which is, so basically we had 4 election workers, so one voter per election worker per hour, so.
Yeah, and you have to also remember that some of those were our election workers voting.
Yep.
Voting early themselves.
So if we didn't do the early voting, people could still show up and do an absentee ballot in person in the clerk's office, right?
You can, but you have to fall under one of the reasons. So that's why they've implemented early voting. Is there's no excuse. So you have to be either away, religious reasons, sick, so that's why they do their early voting.
I thought they got rid of they also have no excuse, or
No excuse mail in.
Absentee.
You have to do it by mail, it's not in person.
okay, you can't, okay, that's weird. Didn't know that.
It's Massachusetts.
All right.
So we're required to do in-person early voting for the state-run elections, and it's optional for the municipal.
All right.
All right, any other questions? Thank you very much.
All right, have a good day.
Okay. Next we have Finance Director, Accounting, page 2.
I did make that meeting out.
The fact that the difference between mail-in and absentee, like why would we have two different things for that?
They never updated the law to get
Yeah.
rid of the absentee. They should get rid of absentee because you do early voting, you don't need absentee.
Right.
That's what I would think.
Or mail-in, yeah.
And state law is slow to,
Respond.
thank you, that's the word.
We get very few actual absentee ballots each election. There's
Yeah.
only a couple.
There were no absentee strictly absentee ballots in precinct 2.
Yeah.
This time. They were all
It's redundant.
mail
It is
in
redundant,
or-
it's dumb. You don't need both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just they added
Should have done the mail-in.
the full always allowed permanent early voting and haven't removed the absentee section separately, so it's probably eventually they'll get there, but it takes a whole bunch of cleanup of
Yeah. And they
various
don't want
things.
to change during a presidential year. That's
Well,
typically the-
and our state legislature, they're too busy slowing things down to get anything done, so.
All right. Welcome.
Hi.
All right, so we're looking at finance director, accounting, assessors, revaluation, and treasurer collector.
So for the accounting, everything's pretty much status quo. The only things that really have changed are the salary lines, and those are all contractual and union. I did hire a new financial analyst, and so she's been working out wonderful. We've been doing a lot of work in Vadar. As you know, we did the chart of accounts. We converted from SoftWrite to Vadar, and we found a lot of errors, and we're correcting them. We're reclassifying accounts, so we're working a lot in Vadar and trying to get accounts set up. We've also built the Schedule A in Vadar, so it took a bit for us to submit this year, but it was because, we're building the system as we were going.
Should go smoother this year then, right? Because it's already set up and everything.
Yes, when I closed the books after the conversion, I was like, oh my goodness, it was really easy. And I'm like, is this it?
I did something wrong.
Exactly.
Something's wrong.
Yeah, but I was really excited. I mean, I put,
Nice.
our team put a lot of work into, the conversion, and, yeah, we're really proud of it. And we're continuing to working on it. Like the schools have their own module, but now we're trying to get them back onto the town's module to make it a little easier for the school department. So I'm working on that. So we're gonna convert the school department back onto the town. And I hope to have that done by July 1st. Did you have any questions on the expenses? Again, they're all status quo. The conference seminar fees, that's for our educational program, all three of us go. And then also the MCPPO classes, myself, and there's a new program. Every town was able to, have one person go through the program free. And so my assistant has been going through the program, and she's going to wrap up this year. So that's really exciting. And yeah, everything else is just carry forward.
So I was looking at the 25% increase, department head, is that like a grade change or something?
No, that was a contractual increase.
Okay,
I negotiated my contract.
okay.
Very well, I might add.
She got rid of her agent.
Yeah. Well, Mary, you know, came to me and said, "Do this or I'm out." Just kidding. But seriously, I can't lose Mary, so.
Take that out of his pay.
We'll talk about that after. We skip.
All right, any other questions for our town accountant?
All kidding aside, just to go back to the contract, there is a great disparity between finance directors in the municipal side and the school side. So when the finance director from upstairs left, you know, and not to say that Mary would, but it becomes very apparent that you could go one flight up a stairs and make $30,000 more a year on the school side. So we have to do more on the municipal side to fix that
Fully
gap.
support that
Yeah.
contract.
Yeah.
Yep, no, I'm
Yep.
just saying.
Evan,
I
without-
made a joke
without
about it, but I don't want to make it seem like that's what
I'm
happened.
sure there was a little bit of threat too.
Well, Mary just has to come in and say it's time to renegotiate my contract. And I just
Okay.
Fill in the numbers.
Mary's doing a fantastic job.
Yes, she is. No
Very
question about it.
drafting, for sure.
Glad to hear that. All right. Anything else? All right, assessors?
Hi, how are you?
Good.
I'm Tammy Kalinowski.
I want to start off by saying I had to do a motor vehicle abatement this year, and Megan in your office, awesome.
She is.
She was just answered all the questions, did everything perfect. So I just want to give a compliment to her.
Thank you.
Doing a great
Thank
job.
you. No, we love Megan very much. She's very good at what she does.
Yep.
So, there are slight changes in the salaries that are also contractual. There were slight changes on the expenses, professional and technical. We reallocated $10,000 for our field card review to the reval lines. There were slight increases. It's a decrease overall, but there were slight increases in our software and web hosting for Vision and RC, which are our personal property and our real estate databases. We also added in something called Pushpin. We have a new program in the office, Nearmap. It's amazing. They do 2, sometimes 3 flyovers a year. Pushpin connects with Nearmap, and it looks at all of what it does is it pulls out all of the differences, any additions or subtractions, so that will help us with capturing any growth moving forward. So that's a new big tool for our office. We have our intramural adjustments that was reallocated to reval, so that's zeroed out for this fiscal year. Conference and seminars stayed the same. We have a new line for communications. We now have 3 iPads in the office, 1 for each employee, so that if we do cross-training, so everybody can go out and do inspections if one person is out. So those iPads have become very handy. We take photos of the properties when we're out there, and they go directly to our laptops. Our IT has set that up. It's an amazing tool to have. Office supplies have stayed the same. In-state travel has stayed the same. Dues and membership had a slight increase. That covers our MLS PIN. That's all of your listings for real estate sales. Mass Association of Assessing Officers, I believe that's the one that may have increased slightly. And then Worcester County Assessing Association that covers those 3 memberships. So that's it for that portion. And then we have reval, obviously, for personal property and real estate. We're in a full reval year.
I don't see that in our packet.
The reval?
Yeah.
It is. It's just separate. It's just down.
Okay, it's much further
Well,
down.
the numbers are moved elsewhere, so you can't ask questions.
To put them together.
Yeah.
It should move up to.
Yeah, I was looking.
It's up come out of the
Okay,
same
there we go.
place.
I was looking at numbers. I figured they'd be next to each other by.
They should.
Yeah, it's just
Okay, top of page, bottom of page 8, top of
ClearGov
page
fixed
9.
Was that moved out because it makes, if we were in the assessor's budget, it would look like the assessor's budget blew up for 1 year.
No, so originally it was just a capital line, and so what I did was
Okay.
I created a department. And if I use my UMass manual, the department is 142. So it should be in order, and I'll just have to email ClearGov, and they'll fix that for us.
So it'll come in, it'll
Right
be a separate
next way.
department, but it'll be under the.
Yes, in ascending order.
That makes sense.
Yes.
Cool.
And I
So-
believe that's where all of our interim adjustments will be moving forward,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so last year they had 26.7 for interim, this year it's 61.280 for the full
Right.
evaluation. Okay. Does anyone have any questions on that?
Well, on this, on that, when you do the full reval, that's what, every 5-10 years?
Every 5 years now. This is our first time with this is the first time with the 5 years.
Yeah. So,
It was 3 before, right?
Correct.
Okay.
so it seems every year you're gonna be doing an interim, the 26.7. Does it make sense so you don't artificially inflate the budget every 5 years to move that and fund it differently?
In what way?
I don't know, not put it in the operating budget.
I mean, as a capital expense?
Yeah. Only because you're not,
Right.
because it artificially inflates, it needs to be done, no question about that, but
Right.
sort of artificially inflates the budget.
In a previous community I worked for, we had a stabilization account.
Just gonna say every 2 years.
So, like, we would fund it, maybe every 5 years, with 50,000, and then I would just pull out of it
Yeah.
annually.
Might want to think, just a suggestion, so you
Think
don't,
about in May adding a stabilization account for that purpose.
Yeah, we
Because
could
then
do
we
that.
can-
Add a
we-
fifth of it every year, at least it's there.
Yeah.
that way you're not, because that's a major jump on the general government side, which
No, that's a
would have
good
been less if, but you have to do it, there's no
Yeah, you
choice.
get paid.
Right, but it's just not doing this to the budget.
Correct. Something to think about.
Yeah, we should, well, no, I like I thought the stabilization worked well.
Yeah.
For us. Cause you'd put 70,000 in there and you'd only spend 60, well then 5 years from now, we're only transferring
Right.
50 or 55,
Yeah.
whatever it is, just to.
Let's keep it out of the operating budget.
Well, and then that just makes it better. Like if the revaluation year happens to fall on a particularly tight year for the budget, then having it come out of that stabilization that's been
Yeah.
And it definitely fell on a particularly tight year this year, right?
Sure did, thanks Tammy.
You're welcome.
Yeah, she held it out for just this purpose.
So I know she was like, I'm gonna get that. No, no, that's great, we'll, put that in motion for May.
Any other questions?
No, great job.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm gonna talk about Nearmap a little more when it gets to my turn.
Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, I've
We're
already
finding-
started. Evan told me about it the other day and we already started.
We're already finding stuff. If we get, when we go out and do inspections, if somebody has a fence, we don't go through the fence. It's a liability if we don't shut the fence. Somebody's animal gets out or child, it's a liability. So if we can't see it, we come back to the office and we can see it from the eye in the sky. And
That's great.
What
What a great thing.
it helps with measuring.
Depends
It
on what
measures
side of
with
the
it measures. I
terminal
believe.
you're on.
Get the 10 gauge out with the buckshot in it and shoot it down.
First of all, they do it with an airplane, so I would.
It's gonna be a missile then.
We can get the measurement between. They said 6 inches, but if there's a deep overhang on the roof, it's more like about a foot or so on either side. But it's
close,
pretty
still
accurate.
good.
Yeah, it's
I'm gonna
an
show you this real
amazing
quick, just as
tool.
we're talking
Yeah,
about
this is why I
So
started the next day.
one of the neat things that Nearmap does is if you look on the right panel here, that's October 2nd, 2023. And so what we can do here is go back in time. Say we want to go see what was happening in 2021. And then you can actually just drag
nice
across and see any differences that happened on a property or a roadway or a brook. We use it for wetlands work. It's like this is actually a good one, right? So there's a state hospital, 8 Pine Street. And you can see the demolition that has gone on there. Ooh. Anyways.
It's no.
And you can also do the
look at
oblique, so
the
you
new
can
building.
get.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we'll do this too. Watch, we'll show you the oblique. And the oblique is from the side here, and you can actually go in and measure building heights,
Cool.
and so on and so forth.
Is this like replacing the
So
the Map Geo?
So we will upload our own layer. MapGeo is pretty much the host of the GIS system.
Okay.
So we will add a layer once a year. It's like $1,800.
No, the 1825 is for the push pin. It's 1,000 for the deliverables. So we can, right now, the last overlay aerial photo that we have for the town is 2021.
Right.
So they can take all, if they do 2 flyovers, we'll do it once a year at $1,000, and then both of those layers will go in.
Yeah. So then and if they do the flyover in March, which is the one I tend to lean on because there's no foliage. But if they do the flyover in March, it can be in our GIS system in April. And so our GIS is so much more responsive as well.
What a great system.
So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yes, it is. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tammy. Have a good day.
You too.
So up next is treasurer collector on page 3. I have Jessica for that.
Yep. She's online with us. Yep.
There she is.
Morning, Jessica.
Good morning.
How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
So how are things in the treasurer collector's office?
They are good. We hired an admin assistant. We promoted Christine to assistant treasurer collector after Tom Aroli left. Things are going very well. It's been quite a busy month with the excise taxes going out. Those are due Monday. But everything's going very well. In regards to the budget, the salaries increases are contractual. There's been no change in the expense. It was level funded. What I did was I moved some money between line items for professional services. We reduced because we're going to the semi-annual bill printing. We're still going to be on quarterly billing, but we're going to print the bills twice a year, once in July and once in January. And that will be a less cost to the town to mail them twice a year as opposed to the 4 times a year we're doing now.
So those bills will have 2 quarter pay stubs on them? Is that
Correct. I should have a sample by the second week of April from our bill print to actually put out on the website and throughout town hall and hold a session with this council on aging for this senior center to show them what the bills will actually look like. They actually had to wait for a sample of our bill file to prepare it, and they wanted to get it as close to the time frame as possible. So by the second week of April, I should have a sample bill of what they will look like. The bottom remit will be for quarter 1 or 3, and the middle will be for quarters 2 and 4, and the top portion will be for the residence copy with all their information.
And do you have an idea how much that saves a year?
We're estimating it to save us $6,500. That's what I got from what we spend now in printing every 3 months, and it's reducing it at minimum by half. But we also do not send bills if there's if it's under $100, they only get the 1 quarter bill now. So it could be saving us between 65 and 7,000, I think is what Jim Brodeur said. So I safely took 6,500 and split it between a couple other line items within the budget.
Okay.
I wanted to touch base real quick on the line items that I did increase. One of them being the tax title account. We have several new cases in land court to move forward with because our tax title accounts are we have a large amount of money in tax title, which affects our free cash. So we, between Mary, Evan, and Madeline, last year they decided on some cases to move forward to land court for foreclosure. So those expenses are expected to be a little bit higher over the next couple of years. So I increased our tax title by $3,500. That is standard for a community of this size, but not necessarily the volume that we have in the tax title amount at this time. But I'm working on cleaning those up between our tax title attorney with land of low value process. That's not something that's been done in Grafton before, but I'm going to start working on that and go through some properties with Evan and Mary's advice as to which ones we want to process. Then I also increased the in-state travel as well as the seminars and conferences. Christine is new as an assistant treasurer collector, and in order for her to be certified, she's going to. I'm sorry.
No,
This cough.
Dan was coughing.
Okay.
You're good.
In order for her to become certified, she's going to have to attend the full conference in August, the MCTA annual schooling, to get through her courses and be able to be test for certification for both treasurer collector. So that justified my increase in the seminars. The MCTA is also increasing their fees for these, as the Amherst is charging more per person. So I thought that was an important thing to move some of the money for, to, as well as the in-state travel. It does cost to get out to Amherst and stay.
Okay. Do we have an estimate of what we're owed for tax title, or is that not something?
It's 1,312,000 ish.
Yeah.
Top of head, you know.
Yeah.
No, Mary pulled it up and I'm side eyeing her.
Percentage wise of the overall liability, what's our collection rate?
What's our collection rate, Jessica?
On regular real estate, our collection rate is 99.7% last year, I believe.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Does anyone have any questions for Jessica?
I'm just thinking about the saving money on the mailing. Do you happen to have an idea of how many people actually pay their tax like directly versus like through their mortgage bill? Because like if I stopped receiving my tax bill in the mail, it would still get paid because I don't pay it directly. I pay my mortgage, and then that goes to escrow and all that, and they take care of it. So just wondering if that's like a large portion or not really.
It is a larger portion does get paid by CoreLogic. Unfortunately, under Mass General Law, the town is obligated to send to the actual homeowner.
Okay.
We have to in order for any demand or taking or court filing, the owner has to get we have to get a certificate of mailing that we sent it to the owner. We don't get notifications of who escrows, so notifying the bank essentially doesn't help us.
Got it. Okay.
You have to do a certificate of mailing for each tax bill?
Well, no,
They don't
it's
pay their taxes.
it's for the commitment overall. So the bill print company gets the commitment from us, and they run it through, and the number of items mailed has to match the number of bills printed on the commitment. So they give us from the postal service the certificate of mailing. This is how many bills they mailed and what bills were mailed, whether it be 2024 third quarter real estate, 2024 fourth quarter personal property. They give us their certificate of mailing, and that we have to hold on to.
All right, I think we are good. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica.
Bye.
Okay, up next, we're starting with ZBA on page 6. Good morning, Bob. So we're gonna be probably ZBA, Farmsville, Community House, Municipal Center, and Inspector of Buildings, Gas, Plumbing, and Wiring. Okay, so we'll be starting with Appeals Board.
And you said page 6? Oh, here we
Yes.
go.
Yeah,
I just had to get used to this.
Yep.
Okay.
So, what do you need to tell us about ZBA and budgets and all that stuff?
We're basically level funding,
Okay,
and,
ZBA is just COLA and step increase
right.
for the one staff member we have.
And of course, they're very busy with the 40Bs
mm-hmm.
and the 40Bs.
Okay, any questions on Appeals Board? Fairly straightforward. 3,500 in expenses and 35,000 in salaries. Okay, Farnhamsville, page 7.
I have to get used to this.
I'll help you. The Farmsville's level.
In the middle.
Yeah.
Well, they're both, everything's really level,
Community
but
House is
yeah.
level.
I wanted to try to see where I am. Did I turn the wrong way?
Page 7.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, it's a little cute building that we just are maintaining because it's where our fire station was. I don't know where the horses are anymore.
I hope we didn't. Hope we weren't supposed to feed them.
No, they're gonna be a sticky subject.
Ooh.
It was one of the 3 stations we had built at the same time for $700 apiece.
It's a circle of life.
It is. It is. We're all.
And he's letting
You're
us know.
born, and then you turn to glue.
That's right.
And now we pay almost that much in repairs and maintenance each year.
Yeah.
Well, we try to keep up with all our buildings.
Yep.
So we put as little or as much as we can, if that makes sense.
Is that open for people to see at various times, or
It is, and I think it's by appointment.
It's by appointment. I think there's 1 or 2 days a year where it coincides with another event in which it's open to the public for a set amount of time.
Have you ever been in?
I know where it is. I've been by it. I have never been inside it.
You should go take a look. It's an interesting building.
Yeah,
In between the other 2 buildings.
yeah. It's in walking distance from my house. I've walked past it many times.
Yeah.
I also walked past the South Grafton Community House, which is next up. Assuming no other questions on Farnhamsville. Okay. So, Community House, a little bit bigger budget, but still level funded.
Still level funded.
How is that building doing these days? Doing better after the
It's
renovation?
doing good. It's doing good. We just did some painting. We did some rot repair. The phone line kind of pulled off the building. It took a little bit to get it back on, so we put that back on. Eventually, we're going to have to put some more work into that building, but we're working on a maintenance schedule. So when that time does come, we'll have more conversation.
Okay.
Yeah. It looks good. We have a little bit of. I think we'll do some more work over this summer, and then we're gonna have to look at masonry in the back and some other kind of larger ticket items.
Like
but-
the ramp.
The ramp.
The ramp, we should, eventually we're thinking about just taking that ramp out, putting a new ramp in. But because of the way the building is situated, the water and ice just keep on dripping on that. And then at a particular time, we just lose it and you can't use it. So my idea is let's put a boiler in the basement, put some glycol lines, and we'll just heat that cement with glycol and we will not have a problem. But that's big money to do that. But again, we'll have further conversation once we figure out what we need to do in the complete building.
Yeah. Go ahead.
When I was talking about, is that, when we did that, the study for all the town buildings, was this included? Was that?
The
building?
ADA thing, I don't think.
Oh, that was the ADA study you were talking about. No, that wouldn't be included in this. It
yeah.
does have a handicap ramp, and the handicap ramp is compliant, but it's the water that we have a problem
Yeah.
with.
But then we also did the other study of all the town-owned buildings, just in general. Like if they, didn't we do something like that?
Just an inventory.
And like an asset inventory.
Yeah, I thought we did that.
No, we've talked about it. Actually, just came up again with the 3 Worcester Street, the old fire station conversation, that we don't really have a good holistic inventory of. You know, we've never paid a consultant to come in and say, in 3 years you're going to need a roof, in 7 years you're going to need
Yeah.
a set of gutters,
Maybe
whatever
that's what I
it
was
is.
thinking is
And
that
that's
we
the
were
study.
talking about
That's
it.
the study that we desperately
talking
need to
about,
do
right,
on
right,
certain
right.
buildings.
But it's probably 150 to 200
Right, is it
grand
worth
to,
the,
to
is
To
it
do
worth
that
the
study.
consultant to then
Yeah,
just
I
take
mean,
that money
it-
to actually fix what
it-
needs to be
yeah,
fixed?
yeah. I mean, that's always the
I
rub.
understand,
I mean, I think
yeah.
I think it pays off when you look at big buildings.
Right.
Right. So when you need a roof for this building, and it's $5 million or $3 million,
Right.
whatever it is, knowing when that's going to hit
Right.
is good. But we're also the municipal government, so it would hit, and then we would kick the can down the road 10 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Patch
at least
it.
5 years.
Because it's going to be, no one wants to do it. So.
I get it.
It's like all the roofs on all the schools.
Right.
So
Yep. Yep. So, but I would love to have a full building inventory with life expectancies and everything else for funding purposes. Maybe we'll get there.
I think I've seen something like that for the schools, but it may have just been.
I think it was
This
just,
is what we know. We know a little bit about.
Right.
We know these things are coming through
Right.
capital plan, but
Yep.
nothing.
Right, but nothing that was an outside consultant that's what they do.
Yeah.
in Creating a schedule. So.
okay.
Just had a question with the energy for South Grafton Community House. I noticed it's in the context of the whole budget, small numbers, but it's been like 12 to 15% over the past few years. I wonder if it
You
might
just
be
move money around at the end.
right. Yeah, but I mean, if we expect it to be 11 instead of 10,
Yeah, we did just put a new. Did we just put a new boiler in there?
We did.
So we're not. I think
so
that's
it should be a
gonna
little
help us.
more efficient. Okay, no,
Then
never
we'll
mind.
look at it again. But we were that was on its last legs, and we knew that was. It seems like every budget cycle we talk about how it's probably going to die,
And it died.
and then it did,
And then it happened.
and then it did. So we're gonna.
right.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of like yes. Now we'll get our efficiency back. So I actually think we're gonna be okay there, but we'll see at the end of the year.
Okay. No one else has any questions there. We'll move on to municipal center / custodian. Just right below community house.
You want to help with that? That it's fairly leveled.
Sure. It's fairly level. We did bring one part-time position up to a full-time position. That was as negotiated in the GMEA contract for janitorial staff, which worked out anyways because that's desperately needed. We could probably use at least one more person now that we have all the square footage of the library, but that'll be a conversation down the road. We also added a maintenance and repair contract for our AEDs throughout the building. They are just constantly expiring.
Everybody,
Yeah. So
be calm.
yeah. No, they're not in yet. So keep it together. No, we and we added one for the second floor. There's not an AED on the second floor, so this maintenance contract, they come in monthly, make sure it works, make sure that all the supplies are within the correct dates and all of those things, which is good because it is something that you kind of walk past every day and don't think.
I promise I won't have a heart attack over that $1,000.
Okay.
So the longevity went down, so we had someone retire.
Yes. Why did our longevity go on maintenance? Did we have someone leave? No.
Went from 600 to 300.
Yeah.
It's someone left. There's, yeah.
I can't remember who. But
Okay.
sure.
I can't either. But just for your point, Daniel, on housekeeping, we tried to keep everything in its proper category so we can figure out what we're doing at the end of the year. We seem to be low on housekeeping supplies. Supply and demand, our supplier always goes up, especially when COVID started. So we brought that up a couple $1,000 because historically, like Evan and Mary say, we keep on moving money around within that budget. But I'd like to know where we are on each line. So that's why we went up a couple $1,000 there.
Okay, any further questions on municipal center? If not, we'll move to page 11 for the inspectors.
That's what I did.
So, inspector of buildings. starts down below.
Okay. So we added a, how do we say this? We added a part-time position, but really our full-time person retired and went to the part-time. So that's how I kind of say that. That's why the number kind of jumps up.
And then you filled the full-time position?
The full-time position is filled now.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's filled by Tracy Sharkey. She's doing a wonderful
Awesome.
job.
Awesome.
Super knowledgeable, great interaction with the public. And then Tom Federico is the person that we have retaining on part-time, trying to get the last bit of wisdom we can get out of Tom when
Yeah.
he retires fully.
And that's so then the 300 longevity goes away with that.
Correct, 'cause
Yes.
he's no longer a full-time employee.
Okay. So salaries are fairly straightforward. Any questions there? Expenses, you have a bit more of an increase.
So just to jump on that, this year is a year that we're having a huge code change throughout building, plumbing, and electrical, and energy. And right now, sitting here, I don't know how people are going to be building these houses where the energy code is telling them that they have to meet a number of 42. Years ago, they had to meet a number of 100, then it went to 62, then it was 52. Now it's going to be 42, and we don't know how it's going to happen. And there's just training and training and training to figure out that everything's code compliant. It's going to be a tough year. We're going to have to buy all new books for our library because all the codes changed. And I do not like looking my code books online. I'm old school. We're all in there old school. We still like paper. We like to highlight. We like to put our little footnotes in there. So we have to get a new library. And with the new library, we also get it electronic because it makes it easier to cut and paste when you have to write some sort of document. So that's part of all of that.
So you think the conference and seminar is a one-time increase and it'll be lower again in the future, or do you expect it to stay at this level in the future?
I'm going to say we're hoping that it'll level down a little bit, but the codes are changing daily.
Okay.
And we have to stay on top of it, or else we're just not doing our job for public safety and energy efficiency.
Yeah, plus I think bringing a new employee on, she's fully certified and qualified, but there'll be different training opportunities that she'll take advantage of that Tom might not have.
Mhm.
I think it's a reasonable increase, although it is 750%.
Yes.
It's really only like $3,000, but
Yeah.
percentage-wise, that's
Yeah.
And
It jumps out at you just because the previous one was so small.
And just to put everything in real perspective, the town of Grafton has never seen this type of growth before. We've seen growth, but I did my financials this year, and I was kind of amazed that we issued a little under 800 permits, which that seems to be our norm, and our norm is $65 million for estimated value of construction. This year, it was $165 million worth of construction. So we went up $100 million in buildings in their value. Usually we bring in 500 to 600,000. Last year we brought in $808,000. So you can see right now we're just getting where we're going to be so busy we're not going to be able to talk. It's all growth. And in my couple weekly reports, we just permitted a 30,000 square foot manufacturing building. So we want to see more commercial enterprise coming to Grafton. I can tell you right now, it just did. So that's good news.
So you're up about 30% in your revenues this year? Is that what's your estimate? 600?
Okay. I didn't know math was involved, but okay.
Yeah, that's what that, yes. Yep,
Thank you,
roughly.
Mr. Town Administrator.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for our building inspector? Okay, gas inspector. Next page. I assume that the salaries here are shared with the same people for building inspector? Is that why they're?
No, we have separate
Okay.
plumbing and gas. So
I'm looking at 13,000 in salaries, so that's what I'm.
they're on an as needed basis.
Okay.
We pay them per hour. And really, everything in gas, plumbing, and electric, I'm gonna just say for purposes, that's just a placeholder.
Okay.
Because we're figuring that they're gonna do these many inspections, and it's gonna cost that much money, and they're gonna use that much gas. But if we're as busy as we're going to be, then they may be going over that, which we have done in the past, and we have come to FinCom, and we've asked for more money for this, but when I do that, I show you the receipts, the money, the revenue that comes in.
Yeah.
Because we're never gonna lose here.
Yeah.
Because we're always gonna be getting the fees in that's gonna cover their expenses going out. So these are just placeholders because I don't know where we are. I remember when Morgan Drive got gas down their street, we didn't know that was gonna happen. And now everybody on Morgan Drive wanted gas. So then the gas inspector was just going crazy doing those inspections, and we went over that number. But the fees justified going over that number, and we came in for a transfer.
And we do base the numbers on 3 and 5 year averages, so it's not just a
That's right.
dart on the wall.
That's right.
That's why we're pretty close.
That's how you did your whole budget.
The dart?
The dart on the wall, yeah.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
So basically, gas, plumbing, and wiring are all pretty much the same kind.
It's
That's
the same
right.
concept.
Based on that.
Yeah,
That's right.
Exactly.
Okay. So, any questions on the 4 categories of inspectors? All right. Thank you very much. We are all set.
Back to my honey-do list. Thank you, everybody. Everybody have a great weekend.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks.
Good, Bob.
And we are 2 minutes ahead of Evan's spot in the day. So
Okay.
back to page 1.
So we have to wait 2 minutes.
We're gonna wait the 2 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Do you want me to wait, Greg, or?
Just give Victoria a chance.
That's what I thought. Okay, just making sure.
So, listening to that, is part of what you're gonna do now, you're gonna talk about your revenue projections for next year?
Yeah.
So, based on what he's talking about, are you adjusting your new growth estimate for next year?
No, we're gonna leave it where we have it.
I think, I'll see what we adjusted. We adjusted some in the category, but I don't know if it had to do.
Not in any real substantive way. I'm gonna leave it at, where did we figure, we figured 800,000?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to, I can.
Is you so comfortable with that number?
Finished.
I am, yeah, I really, I mean,
You're conservative in your budgeting, which that's how I am.
yeah, I mean, I don't wanna be at 900 and then. you
No, I understand.
I know
I
you
was
know,
wondering, because he made it sound like there was so much stuff coming in that.
Yeah, the problem is that there is a lot of stuff coming in, but like we just permitted the 30,000 square foot building. I don't know anything about those people's financials, so if that's just like 8 Pine, right? So everybody look at the revenue we're gonna get off of 8 Pine, and then it's
Yeah.
dead
That's-
for 2-3 years, and it's gonna happen. I mean, I'm meeting with those people, but I don't want to be on my back foot. I'd rather, it would be great if that happens and we get a bump year in free cash and we'll allocate it in the next.
I agree with what Heather said. It's good to do the conservative budget, and that's the best way to do it. I was just wondering, because he made it sound like there was so much coming in.
And there is. There's a ton of growth happening out there, but you know, the
It's
other
when
thing,
it hits the books.
it's when it hits the books, and it's also $800,000 is not that far off of the 900 to $1 million that I'm pretty confident we're gonna hit regardless. It's just not close enough to warrant, I think, a bump.
A bump, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that'd be different
Oh,
than
and
those
building
ones in
permits,
Worcester that got permitted a couple of years ago when interest rates and everything was different. And now
Oh,
they
yeah.
can't afford to do
And they
it.
can't build it,
Yeah, and we also, we budget our permit fees, what we think, we take again, an estimate of that, and we're generally conservative on that,
Yep.
like in fiscal 25, we're at what, Mary, almost 340,000?
471.
Oh, sorry, 471, wrong column.
This fiscal year, 471, that's wow, that's a lot of building
As
permit
of
fees.
December 31st.
Yeah, last year total was 640.
Yeah, so might be close to 800,000 if
Yeah.
it continues. Cause
Yeah,
now you're coming into
especially-
the building season.
Right, and we have some pretty big projects that just came through the planning board, so,
What are they doing on Providence Road?
which
Oh,
project?
8 million apartment buildings aren't
That
gonna
was-
add
that's
to our
what I
school
think, that's
level.
what I thought.
Oh, down here?
Yeah.
Was it 200 or 300 apartments?
We're talking about the, at the bottom of Highfields, that one there? Yeah, I think I thought it was 128, but I might have that wrong.
Yeah, they got a lot of clearing going on there.
It's a
Yeah,
lot.
they do.
Yeah,
They do.
yeah.
Yep. Yep, but we've got 59 Pleasant, 116 Upton, 17 and 27 Upton, 14 Snow Road. That kickoff meeting happens in the next couple weeks.
So when are we gonna build a new high school?
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Hey, wait,
according
I
to
asked that question 2 years ago and last year, and they get
You
told,
don't need a new.
no,
school.
there's
But
no
they
change in
could-
enrollment.
They could add a level.
Well,
Yeah.
when Jay was here the other night, he said they're gonna contact with NASDAQ to come out and do an analysis, so we'll
Yep.
get a good he'll get a good handle on
Per
it.
their last
They're really good,
analysis-
NASDAQ's pretty good at
Yeah,
their
per
estimates.
their last analysis, they said even with, and I don't think we're far off of what they were projecting.
No, pretty close.
So they had said we'd be fine. We'd
I
be
think
okay.
current enrollment's slightly down from where it's been past few years.
What-
So,
one of the things I was gonna ask about, but I didn't, was they put in his projections, they only looked at single-family houses. And I was kinda surprised at that.
Yeah, I don't.
And I don't know if they just, if that was a mistake or whatever, but I was kinda like,
Single-family houses generate more children than
Oh, yeah.
apartment buildings.
Yeah.
We just did a study, cause we're adding 200 apartment buildings in Groton, and the impact for 200 apartment buildings was negligible.
Yep.
So it's hard to,
That's
It-
what,
it's hard
It
to
is.
comprehend that, it's hard to wrap your head around that, cause you think 200 units, you're gonna have all these people living there.
right.
yeah,
I
there
agree.
aren't a lot.
Housing is so expensive these days that's where I'm seeing, I would think people, in the past, yes, but I think recent trend.
Oh, because of rent's
We
better than, yeah,
Expensive.
yeah, that's a good point.
Although we also had the two largest classes in GPS history have graduated.
Yes, it's Jason.
So all the class sizes are way down.
Okay.
The classes 2022 and 2023 were the largest in history.
Yeah, and I just,
Significant.
again, this,
amount.
that saying single-family houses and driving by Prentice Street where there's 3 or 4 kids from the one building that's fully occupied. I just, it's like, okay, yeah, 3 or 4 kids, but you gotta add something in for the multifamily housing if you're not
Yeah.
gonna look at it at all.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was just a miscue that they put it in that way or what, but.
I don't remember seeing that, so I couldn't comment any further.
Maybe going forward, they'll change that because there are so many more buildings.
Yeah.
Buildings. Maybe when they, back then there weren't. Now there's so many coming forward.
Okay. So we ready for town moderator?
Yeah, we blew through the 2 minutes. We blew through the
There's
2
a long
minutes.
Yeah.
We can now speak.
That's right. I'll catch us back up. Any questions? On my budget?
No,
Looks good, Evan.
Yeah, thanks. Okay, so we're leading off with moderator. No change in that budget, so pretty straightforward. Select board, you have a 7% that correlates to Amber's position, and it's really just a step in COLA, but it's how we tie the money to Affordable Housing Trust. And what else do you do?
So I have, the question I had there was
There's nothing.
department head versus administrative.
It's just
Does it
what
matter?
It's just what it got captured at, and ClearGov will make a note of it.
Yeah,
and
I
it's,
can fix
Well,
that.
I have no problem calling her the department head.
well, in reality,
Exactly.
Yeah. Sergeants run the army.
She is the department head.
yes, 100%. So there's a $2,000 total change in that salary section, and then expenses, you will see just a decrease on the Follett well line. That's because of just the way that inspection process rolls out. And then we have a $5,000 increase. We just split that over to the SEL line. What's the SEL?
The Verizon communicate, the cable and stuff.
It's
So basically,
I
the
don't know,
5,000
I know
moves out
what's
of
in it. I
Follett.
don't remember what SEL stands for.
So, select board,
Oh, that okay.
SEL, so, yeah, so I.
SEL community. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Well, I
SEL
had to,
communications.
well, so some of this is old from, SoftWrite, right? And so when I go to extract my reports in Vadar, it was really hard because in SoftWrite, everything was named department head. And so, if I extract reports, like, everything's just office supplies, department head. So I had to go into Vadar and I've abbreviated, so SEL is for select board, accountant, ACCT. But so some of the new accounts will have that abbreviation, but because, this was from SoftWrite, it's the old names.
Well,
Right, so you'll see the new names, they'll have the abbreviation for the department.
My brain's just not working because I thought you misspelled cell.
No, so, yeah, you'll.
Well, we definitely misspelled deferred down below.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
What's different? What's different comp, Evan?
I didn't put it in there, but
We'll fix that.
I know you give me a hard time.
okay. Well, also membership is dues membership. It's like,
Oh yeah, I missed that one.
yeah. Well, we're doing real well in our section. Okay.
I
say
figured
hours.
You're up to a great
ran
now
into the
it's
limit of the-
No, well, I say hour when there's an error. Mary and I made that together.
Right.
When it's great, well, I'm doing a wonderful job. Okay, so any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. Town admin, that's me. So you will see there is a change in salary for the department head. That is me. I just finished my first 3 years and we're into my second 3-year contract. So that's a renegotiation of the contract.
You did well too.
I did okay. I did okay.
I can't believe it's been 3
I know, I
years.
was just thinking the
Flew
same
by,
thing.
Evan.
Wow.
Flew by.
It did. It did.
Glad you're here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I'm
I'm dead serious.
He had a full head of hair when he started though.
Great.
You'll also see that there's now a deferred comp line.
A different comp.
A deferred comp line. It's different comp. So that's a lot of town administrators have that in their contract, and so that's a retirement direct benefit. That's essentially how that works. And just for clarity, what I did was I took previous contracts that Grafton had agreed to and kind of looked through where I was at. I knew coming in that I would be on the lower side and then hopefully prove myself and then negotiate for a relatively good contract. Yes, you'll also see the expense allowance changed. They've decided not to do the car allowance anymore and to just provide a municipal vehicle. They think that over the long run, for the TA contract, that'll save money. So, all right. Any
You
questions?
have one of the nice new Equinoxes.
No, I actually have there's an Explorer out front. And I really did that for a couple reasons. One, I generally travel with staff to go places, and use more seating, but also fleet commonality with the police department. So let's say you guys can me in 3 years, and the next contract is different. That vehicle can go straight to PD and not be just a loose vehicle hanging around. It's spec'd out pretty much exactly like you would have for a unmarked cruiser. So
Okay. But those Equinoxes are nice looking.
they are nice looking. They came out great. And the staff are, all but one of them is doing very well. One of them seems to be a lemon. I don't know. We have just constant problems with it, so we're working our way through that.
Oh, that's what you told me about
Equinox,
the other day, yeah.
Yeah, the rec one just always doing something. So, okay. Anyways, since there's no questions there, we'll go down to the only other change in my budget on expenses. You'll see a increase on the Veterans Advisory. So that's a Veterans Advisory Committee is a newer committee in Grafton. They don't have a lot of any administrative support, so we put their line under my office's budget, and when they have an expense, they just come and give that to us, and we handle all the bill schedule and all the rest of it. It's up to 5,000 because honestly, they're doing great work. They're doing a lot more outreach, a lot of mailings, parades, fixing plaques. They're just doing really great work, and so we wanted to give them a little more funding to keep up with that. So, all right. You're the finance committee, so I'll skip past that. What's the next on my list?
Well, finance committee was
me too.
Oh, but there's no name on it, so.
Okay, I'll do it. So finance committee,
level funded.
Level funded. Any questions? No? Okay. Legal.
Reserve fund.
Reserve fund is level, as it has been. I think my next one is legal. Okay.
Yep.
So legal, we're leaving level. We do have a new town council. It's a different approach than we had with our former town council. So,
When did we change town council?
Oh, yeah, who is that?
so now it is
Oh, I didn't know that.
Harrington Heap is so Chris Brown at Harrington Heap and Chris Heap is the people we work with most closely.
They're both Chris.
They're both Chris, and it's wonderful because I just send an email to Harrington
Chris.
Heap and I say, "Dear Chris's."
Where are they based out of?
They are in Framingham. They're local. They're here pretty consistently.
Why the change?
So our former council is now in the AG's office. So it seemed like a good time to transition. And so
You still using Mark for
Yeah.
labor?
yep, I like Mark.
Oh, Mark's
very much,
awesome. He's
so.
my labor counsel. He's awesome.
Yep, so I'm going to stay with that. We actually had reached out to a number of firms, and interestingly enough, 3 out of the 4 we contacted were suing the town of Grafton currently, and couldn't provide us with anything.
That's
but,
funny.
It's actually worked out wonderful because it happens. It actually happens
Does it?
with Mir. It does. Trust me, it does.
Okay.
It everywhere I've been or anybody I talk to, this is what happens. And so we actually, Mark Terry and I have a conversation at least a few times a year that Miracle O'Connell is going to take on a Grafton case, and we have to document that we've agreed that that's okay to do that. So that's pretty standard. But anyways, we had worked with Chris Brown on the Castagna settlement for the highway garage, and just found him to be just super responsive, really nice, regular type of person. Real good municipal experience. So
So now with that-
Council at town meeting. Cool.
yes, new council at town.
So that 110,000, is it, you just paying straight hourly, or
Yes,
is it, there's no
and-
retainer or anything?
No, so it's a very it actually hasn't changed a whole heck of a lot to what we were paying previously. So previous council had a retainer. Every month we paid the retainer. Looking at our hourly currently, we're right at where that retainer was, and then former council had, if we went to court, that's over and above.
Yep.
So that's already captured here.
In there, yep.
And actually, the biggest case we had, we just spent about, I think, $3,000 on, and the judge awarded us $45,000 in penalties and fees. So, if that actually gets paid through the court system, and we're actually ahead. But I think we're going to be pretty close. We might have to do something end of year. We'll see. This is a whole different paradigm for Grafton. So Grafton previously, council was in here twice a month or once a month, and would sit in a room, and all department heads could come and just talk to her, and it worked, but it's hard to monitor, and so now everything comes through me to council, so I can.
What do we pay for an hourly rate?
$225.
That's
It's really not bad.
That's actually industry standard right
for
now.
Central Mass.
Yeah, that's good.
It's a good amount. So, So yeah, I'm really happy with it. They'll be at town meeting. That'll probably be your first opportunity
Oh, good.
to meet them. And they do have a lot of depth of talent in their firm, which is great because if we have zoning issues that we think might get complex, then the Chris's will bring in their zoning person. You know, so we have a little more depth than we had previously. With,
Well, you don't need to go to special counsel now, because you have the
We have-
expertise with the firm.
Yep, exactly.
That's
So,
good.
Yeah, no, we're really happy. Nothing but great feedback about department heads working with council. So I'm happy. All right. My human resources.
Next is
Jeez.
listed as payroll and benefits. Is that human resources?
It's still human resources in Clearco, but it'll
Yep.
become payroll and benefits.
Okay.
So we reclassified that position because we did change it to payroll and benefits. We also have taken on more work as time goes on that is previously been done by the school department, and so we're consolidating some of that. So that's why you'll see that increase there. We were also able to bring someone in that had like a decade of municipal payroll and benefits experience. So that's a wonderful addition to the team. If you go upstairs, I don't know how much time you spend in the municipal center, but human resources used to be like this little 2-room closet. We've now moved them over. They've got a much bigger office. They can now host staff in there when they're doing paperwork, you know, things that you would think are just kind of general, but it really has made a night and day difference between the staff and their space. So that's good. Any questions on that? No.
So the professional and technical is just a contractual.
Did I skip?
The $8,000 increase in expenses.
Next page.
That's your payroll service?
Yep.
Yeah, that's for Harper's.
Yep,
And
correct.
Ashore.
Yep. Just, oh, there's a note. Thank you. Appreciate that.
So you can't get rid of her.
No, trust me. I've always said if Mary goes, I'm just gonna go find a different career path. IT. Okay, so did you say likewise? Yeah. Oh, thank you very much. That's sweet. And the correct answer. So, information technology. You'll see it is an outsized increase here, and so part of that is because, and I mentioned this in our first budget presentation, we had a lot of stuff kind of floating in the ether when we got here that was not accounted for, or it was hidden in some budget and it wasn't defined well. And we knew that we really needed to do a better job of capturing and creating sublines and all the rest of it. But just with the amount of projects we had in front of us, we knew we weren't going to do that very well. And so we prioritized changing the software in the chart of accounts and do those things, and then relied more heavily on end of year transfers than we would like to. But now we've been able to capture that stuff. So some of that is just because we're capturing it better. Some of it is because we've taken on new technology and done things in a different way. So you heard about our near map. So that's in our GIS equipment line. However, I really think that near map will pay for itself probably within the first month of what we're going to capture from growth. We continue to have our 3 Zoom accounts. You'll see our Vadar hosting fee has increased about 30%. That's just the cost of doing business plus debt book. Is that in that line?
Yes.
Yep.
So IT maintenance has actually gone down 12,000.
Yes.
Is that stuff that got moved out into a separate line, or?
It's two things. It's me scrounging for money to get the budget to be on the positive side.
Okay.
And just us. We've done a lot of work in 3 years. We really have. The IT infrastructure in Grafton is remarkably different between servers and SMTs and NAS and everything else we've done is head and shoulders above. I'm really proud of it. It's one of our shining areas that we fixed. When I got here, our backup was a server in the fire department that had 1 out of 4 drives spinning, and it was original 2009 technology. So we're off-site backup. We've shifted to Office 365 for everything. We're 1 drive backed up there as well. We've got.
Are you in the cloud?
Oh yeah, we're in the cloud 2 different ways. My head and the IT stuff. I think we've done a lot of work. We're multi-factor authentication that was not in place before. Our patch management's entirely different. Our data closet, even down to
So you're in the you're in the 21st century finally.
yeah, we're close. We're still the municipal government, but we're getting there. We're getting there. Yeah, it looks like a bigger jump than I think that it really should. We also added, we have open checkbook now through our transparency center, which shows you literally every payment that the town makes. Gets updated monthly, or are we quarterly? So every quarter, new data hits our ClearGov, and you can search by vendor. You can do it's as transparent gets.
Given what happened to the city of Lowell,
Yep.
I'm glad you spent a lot of time on IT.
Yeah. That's my biggest fear. That's what kept me up at night when I got here. Not the staffing stuff and morale things that we were hearing about and things. It was honestly, it was IT and ransomware and all the rest of it. So we've come a long way.
Nice.
Is that check thing the same thing that Worcester just said we're not going to keep?
I don't know.
Oh, I
didn't see that.
I didn't see that.
I don't know. There has been a pullback in government transparency, which I find to be interesting.
Well,
we're going the other way here.
They felt that would ease people's acquisition of information and allow them to. It was
The way you phrase that,
telegram.
that is the point.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
To ease people's acquisition of information. But
Well,
I know you
ease
mean
people's
like
acquisition
people with
of
bad
information
intentions.
to steal identities and
Right.
get into systems. That they
Yeah,
shouldn't
I mean,
be
it does give you a little bit of a roadmap of who we're doing business with.
Yeah.
But if we're doing our security job on the other side, I still would lean towards transparency for the public that's paying the money. Then
No,
Any
no,
other-
no security by obscurity. That's just not.
I don't know if Worcester's a shining example. By any means.
right. So that's pretty much how we got there. You'll see, we dropped our capital improvement line there by about 10 grand. We don't really want to be doing that, but again, that's what the times call for.
I mean,
So
one
that
of the
was,
things
that was like your PC replacement.
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
and we're in good shape. We can, it's not, none of this is catastrophic. We're not going back to the days. Again, when I got here, there was Windows 7 machines still up and running. We actually had an XP machine that we found.
wangs.
So it's not. We're not going back to those times. We're in good shape. Actually, COVID helped quite a bit with
Yeah,
that.
one of the because you were forced
Exactly.
into
Everything
doing
got
that, yeah.
turned over. Yeah.
One of the things I asked you when we met the other day that I think the committee should hear, are you looking towards bringing this in-house, to have an in-house employee? So,
Yes.
you wanna talk
Yeah,
about that?
that's my overarching goal. It really to me wasn't practicable in the past 3 years because we needed so much support from all these different areas of IT, and to go to a vendor that has all those people on staff, I think made economic sense for us, right? We've got a networking guy that shows up for networking. We got a guy that does a lot of the desktop stuff. We have all of that. But for the money we're paying, I think we can come pretty close to having, at this point, a contracted service to do all those other things that we can't do, and then have a full-time person in-house that can do the day-to-day technology management stuff. That we have somebody in-house 2 days a week, which is 100% increase as to what was here when we got here. But it's still not enough. I mean, just with the library and the amount of technology that's in the new building, the technological advances we've made here, PD, fire. I mean, there's a lot more. So
that's the IT prof and tech line is the consulting.
that is yes, $131,000. Yep. So we think we could probably do an employee, and then again, we're still going to need some
Support.
of that outside support. Yeah. Yep.
So just one, I noticed the IT ZBA data migration appeared at 0.
Yeah, that-
Mitigration appeared at 0. Is that?
It just needs to be hidden. We had a one-time line in there.
Okay.
So
So that's an old thing.
It is. I think we just didn't click the button that said one
Okay.
time thing. Right. And so we'll fix that. All right. Any questions on IT before we move off?
IT's good.
And I just have a quick question. I might have
Sure.
some, but I know that we had said that we were going to implement like a computer upgrade is that what that 5,000 is or no?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And we'll be a little bit off of where I would have hoped to be, but not by much. We're okay. I like the 15,000 too, because even if we spent 10,000 on refurbishing or replenishing laptops and keeping things current, it left us a $5,000 buffer for the things you weren't anticipating was gonna happen.
Right.
A switch dies in the middle of the night and, you know, those type of things, but we're okay. I've got, all of our switches are new and within warranty. Our server is gonna be the next thing. That's just coming out of warranty, so we're gonna be looking at that for fiscal 26. But our firewalls are now in warranty and serviceable. So we've fixed a lot of those things that we would have had to pay out of pocket.
Okay.
And we did that in years one and two.
Okay.
I hear 4 years is starting to become more common in industry for.
In the municipal government, I think if we get a new computer every 7 to 8 years, you're probably okay. And because we don't have super users here.
Yeah.
We're not doing a lot of graphics driven things.
Yeah.
So you pinpoint your people. Like the town planner's got huge monitors. She's doing a lot of stuff with overlays, GIS stuff. So she's more frequent than say, you know, someone that's just doing day-to-day administrative work. But now that we're Office 365, I think that helps us quite a bit because now we're current on our versions. Where before, you know, this office had, you know, Office 2016, and these people were on the latest version, and that's not supported any. You know, it's a whole thing. So we have fixed that, and I think that helps. Okay. Anything else on IT?
Anything else on IT? Okay, copiers.
Okay. Copiers, we have added one more copier, and that is to the payroll and benefits department that we just talked about. They did not have their own, so they were having to go to the sewer department, which seems inefficient, really. So they have their own now.
Well, they're more than just a closet, so.
They're more than just a closet. Plus, they do deal with sensitive documents. So, you know, sending it to a department without, you know, it's just not wise, honestly. Not that I think Mary Murray's stealing people's identities off the printer. But you never know, right, Mary? She says that all the time.
Well, they do make systems where you go and you have to put
a code in,
key
yeah.
card, so.
Yeah, no, we have
restricted
that.
print, so.
Yep, no, I know, but it's also good staff morale to give them the proper equipment and let them do their work. Town clerk we've done, that's not me. Cable TV, that's just the $3,000 that sits in the budget all the time that I think is
It's contractual.
contractual for the cable agreement.
Correct.
that we have.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, all right. Conservation Commission I'm gonna do as well. So the agent increase is just step and cola. Then you'll see that we have a more outsized increase for the administrative personnel. That is us making that person the assistant conservation agent. We took some of the funding that we had set aside for the field inspector position that we can't fill to save our lives. We're now paying this employee more and having them do more work. Bless you. Did somebody sneeze? Was that you? Thank you. Andy, God bless you. Now you made me lose my train of thought, Andy. What was I talking about?
Upgraded the field
Upgrade.
inspector.
Thank you.
Yes.
So, anyways, I don't know. We did some stuff, and
That's what the budget's
yeah,
on.
oh, and we're gonna shift some admin work to a shared admin that you will hear about when we get to the planning section. So
is that open position now gone?
there is the field inspector position. Yeah, and it's really died on the vine like 2 years ago.
Okay.
We kept trying, but nobody wants to.
It was created and never even filled.
Yeah, we couldn't fill
That's
it.
what I mean.
We
Posted
tried to,
it, but
we
nobody
posted it.
applied.
We tried to regionalize with other towns. We tried a whole host of things.
Yeah.
Before settling on this course of action. So.
Okay.
With the shared admin, Leah did mention they ideally would like a full-time person, but obviously understand the current budget situation.
Yep. So yes, yes, we've had that conversation too.
Okay. Well, I just wanted,
so,
you know,
no, it's
for the
on
public.
it's on the realm of possibilities, but not this fiscal year.
I mean, I just feel like it's good for for people to see that, like, that compromises have already been made
Yes,
to
that's a great
create
point.
this budget.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah, we're not just willy-nilly putting people in places. Okay, so now we're on to the planning board. If there's no other questions, thank you for that, Dan. That was a great point.
You're paying is this a one person?
The field inspector / admin.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You're gonna pay that person more than the agent?
No. So the agent's partially funded out of wetlands fees.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Good question, Skip. Okay, so planning board, so you'll see our department head is a 4.9, that's the standard COLA and step. We have fully funded the assistant planner this year. Last year, we put, more of a stake into the consulting route. But as you heard from Bob, like we're slammed and, Fiona is slammed, and we really think that that's.
Last year that you were planning on doing that, so it makes sense.
Yeah, this is consistent with our plan.
Yep.
I just wanted to go over it again and, you know, yeah, so I think that that's gonna be a world of difference for not only that department, but for Grafton in general, just the amount of things that we're able to do. Cause we're able to keep our head above water, but we're not able to do the cool stuff that other towns are doing for residents, you know, with programs and outreach and just, we're constantly reacting instead of, you know, planning like we're supposed to be doing, so. Then you've got all Fiona's notes there, very thorough. Does anybody have any questions on that? It's really not a big change. The biggest change is the.
Yeah, the biggest change is reducing the consulting because
Right.
we have the assistant planner.
Correct. Yep.
Or we'll have the assistant planner.
Correct. And we're gonna keep a little bit of consulting. One, because I think it's smart. We might have to pull somebody in that has expertise that we don't have.
Yeah.
But also, in case we get some little blip where we're a month behind hiring or something, we can still keep some support there. All right. Anything else for the planning? Okay. This is where it gets more interesting. So you'll see, economic development is now 0.
Did that happen
It did.
yesterday?
Yes,
As you
it did.
promised?
Yes. It
How'd that go?
Not great.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh, it's never fun. That's not the fun part of the job.
No, it's not.
But so we've decided to prioritize. One, we have no real financial wherewithal to be keeping that position, in my opinion, currently. But we also think that the planning side of the house is really where we want to focus, and we think that economic development is driven out of that planning role, anyways. Just looking at what Fiona has done since she's come on board between grants and programs and outreach, I think we're gonna see some results there. So, so that position will be eliminated come July 1. Okay. Any questions on that? Concerns? Thoughts to share?
You reprioritized your budget is what you did.
Yeah.
Makes perfect sense.
Well, it's never fun. It's
No,
not
it's
the
not fun, but-
it's not the good part of the job.
But you know, that you get paid the big bucks to make those decisions.
I know. I don't want to.
You could have delegated to Mary.
Well, Mary did threaten if I didn't do it in a timely manner that I was going to lose my job. So Mary's got that authority here. All right. Do we want to go on classifieds?
That's next on the list.
Okay, good. Retirement and pension. So that's a 9.9% increase. We did factor in that we thought we'd be over 9%. And that's due to a couple reasons. One is just the pension system and their baseline increase is up there. But we did onboard new employees since the last pension round.
Group 4 employees, which
Right.
which is a bigger hit on the
Correct.
this.
Correct. Yep.
The retiree COLA.
And the retiree COLA was a 5% COLA that was voted by the towns that are in Worcester County retirement. Jeez.
Yeah.
That stuff. Thank you, Mary. Medicare and FICA obviously goes up a little bit as we add or subtract employees. That shifts. Group health insurance, that is a tentative 5%. So how it works in our new health group is that we are able to reallocate prescription incentives and other things that we get towards the rate. So in theory, Grafton's rate is in the 7% area. We are going to be voting on Tuesday to hopefully reallocate those funds and buy down the percentage basically by 2 points and get us below 5%. So that's good news for Grafton and good news for the employees as well.
So that'll add to your bottom line under the levy? And just in case anything comes up
Yeah,
down town meeting?
not by we have it here as 5% banking on that vote tomorrow.
Gotcha. Oh, I see what you're
Does it-
saying.
Tuesday, you mean?
Tuesday.
So
I
you,
don't know
so,
if you-
okay, so you've already accounted for it.
I have.
Yeah.
Gotcha,
Right,
gotcha,
right.
gotcha.
'Cause- Yeah, cause then you gotta account for like any other fluctuations, you know, new hires, someone switching from individual to family.
Yep. Compensation reserve, we've decreased a little bit. That's where we put money aside for, any mid-year changes, but also our contract negotiations as we,
In retirements.
and retirements, correct. Yep. And then we have the unemployment leave buyback, which,
So that reduced because it was really heightened and the COVID, and so I have noticed this year we have been decreasing. So I'm pretty confident 30,000 will be good.
yep. Audit services, just a minor increase there. Medicaid claim processing, we have to add $8,000 there. To,
No, so well.
I think we took it from somewhere, right?
No, I think it was just because if you see
Oh.
on the bottom,
Yep, thank you,
yeah.
thank you,
So I
yeah.
think it was just
We moved it from EAP to that.
I think it was just a wrong account
Oh,
number.
that's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
Well, anyways, nothing's changed there. Thank you. You'll see that the major change here, hydrant rental from Grafton Water District, they agreed to give us a pass this year on that. And then we're having a meeting with them in the coming months to set a reduced flat fee for that, which I think will probably be in the $20,000 range.
All right, so you're not gonna be going back up to 69?
I didn't get that impression from them. I won't speak for their board because they haven't met yet, but it did seem like that they were amenable to having that conversation and,
Cause all of a sudden you give you 1 year pass and the next year you're looking for $70,000 again.
right, yep. No, we had a, this is an emergency conversation and then also we need to talk about this going forward. And they, to their credit, when I started, they told me that was a conversation that at some point we were gonna need to have. Cause they recognized that it was just climbing and climbing at every hydrant that got added. And that it probably had, you know, gone past where it needed to be.
You're gonna try to do the same thing with South Grafton?
I don't know yet. South Grafton doesn't have the same financial stability as Grafton Water District does.
Gotcha.
So I just want to be cognizant of that. I don't want to, rob Peter to pay Paul, so to speak, and the good work that they're doing down there in South Grafton. So, and I also think, if Grafton Water District falls somewhere in the range of South Grafton's number, then I think that's just some parity there. If that's what we're doing.
Good.
All right. Memorial Day expenses stays level. Historic District Commission, Historic Commission, town insurance up slightly, 2%, and then that's pretty much it on unclassifieds. Any questions?
Nope.
No. Okay. Fuel and gasoline, we've level funded. We've been doing okay in that realm with 150,000. What did we come in? What is that our fuel?
This is currently, yeah,
We're at 100.
108.
So we're a little bit ahead, but it's hard to track though because you get large deliveries of fuel.
Right.
So it looks like you're way ahead, but you're really comparable to where you need to be. Court judgments, we don't have any.
The sealer of weights and measures was the next one on our list, page 12.
Thank you.
That's level funded.
Yep, sealer awaits level. That's just kind of self-funding and just kind of goes off and gets those done. Next one for me is emergency management, which is level. Animal control, which I think came up $250.
Separate new line. Wow.
Yep.
Breaking the budget.
Yes, I know.
So what is that as a new line? Is that a new fee or?
It's essentially part of our ACO contract with Westboro, how they're capturing it, and so to maintain pound stuff and also do different animal collection stuff. So it's just a fee apart from the salary.
And then animal inspector.
Honestly, I think it's mostly dog food, but sounds more fancy. Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm not the school.
Then a $400 increase on animal inspector department head.
Yep, that's just our barn inspector.
Okay.
So, some of it, I think, is actually, so we just pay him a stipend, and I think he's using it to get more formalized. Isn't that boots or something you put in there? So it's essentially a boot allowance. So, other departments get it, he's literally standing in it. So, seemed like a reasonable request. What page am I on now?
You're on
Sanitation on 15.
Thank you. Sanitation, we actually don't have a contract extension yet. We're working on that. Looks like it's gonna be in the 2% area.
We got a 0 line popping up there under salaries. You can probably just hide.
Yep, thank you. Just part of how it used to be set up, but, so, waiting to see our contract extension there.
And you have an offset on bag fee increases to
Excuse me.
manage that.
Yes, so we did that we're really trying to stick to funding half of the program with the bag fees. It really kills the budget if you don't do that. So, I mean, that's still 600,000+ coming out of the tax roll to fund the trash program, which in an ideal world, you want to shift your trash to a self-funding service, right? It's a pay for play. But we're gonna be talking a little bit more about that over this upcoming year about what our options are to move forward, and maybe we don't stay with a strict pay as you throw. Maybe it becomes a toter and an overflow bag or some other version of that. Excuse me, that we've seen work in other communities.
I know that topic has come up a lot in social media.
Sure has, Greg.
Especially on the bag fees and people asking about different methods and.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different ways to do it, and a lot of people come from different states that have different laws, and so. But I think I think it bears real scrutiny and determination of whether or not we're gonna stay with what we have, or if there's a better way to do that.
Yeah, interesting thing I found in that area is there's actually one of the Massachusetts departments actually posts a spreadsheet showing those numbers for every town.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not too far out.
No, not at all.
We're
We're really not. But nobody likes it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always loved the trash program. Like where I live, I think we pay like $300 a year. But I just put my stuff at the end of the driveway and it goes away.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yeah, we used to be like that.
I know. Well,
Yeah.
people are like, well, we should do a transfer station. I don't want to go put my stuff in my car and throw it away.
Your smelly, sticky
To
trash.
save myself $100, like that's
No.
horrible. Anyways, let's.
Social hours.
And then there's the people comparing it to contracting your own. It's like, oh, it's only $600 a year. It's like I pay $60 in throw bags. a year.
Right.
No way. Wanna go to-
I feel like people don't want to pay for something that they didn't think about paying for before, and when you do the math, it's not a lot.
No. It's a good program, honestly. Okay. Any other trash?
I think we're good on sanitation.
When are the fees going up?
July 1. Yep.
So go out and
Is
buy
that-
a bag
is that
now.
voted?
Bags as I
Don't
can.
don't do that. Wait till after.
Oh no, I bought 6 boxes.
I'm gonna manufacture a shortage.
Is that voted now?
Yes, select board voted it. It's just
Manufacturers.
I will admit
We could sell them on the black market for halfway in between the price and
I've bought four
love it,
four
Eric.
large rolls because it was good.
I got a call this week from someone asking if they could buy a case.
really.
I was like, I don't know how many Stop and Shop will sell you, but okay.
Yeah, they're definitely gonna stockpile them like
Yeah.
toilet paper during COVID.
Yep. Yep.
Smart, right?
I gotta factor that in. I don't know if I factored in the hoarding into my calculation.
See, what you gotta do is announce it when you're about to change it so that we don't use bags anymore.
Right.
Instead, announce a big increase. People go to buy them, and then you get rid
And
of
then
the
be like,
program.
by the way, we're also not doing bags.
And then they're like,
When,
can we
if
return?
we
Yeah.
ever do,
Is there
yeah,
a
that's what I was gonna
return
say. If we
policy?
ever do, yeah, that'll be the next thing. Anyways, let's move on to snow and ice. So snow and ice, I think we're just level.
Yep.
Yeah.
can get
How
to
will
the
you
other
do
side.
this year?
We're 80,000 over.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Actually over?
Yeah,
We're always
Wow.
over.
yeah. You're
That's the
probably
ice.
We're
always
over,
You're
but
always
just
gonna be
not as
over
much.
because you're
I said
never
we're
gonna increase
always
that
over.
line. Cause if you do, you have to keep it that way, then
Correct.
you wouldn't be able to deficit spend.
Well, I thought we did increase it.
We did,
Like,
just so we're closer to where.
Right.
We're within reason.
we know we're still gonna go over, but
Yeah.
it's a better.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing that people don't really think about is the amount they go out and take care of the roads and everything, street, and everybody goes to work and everything, and then 2 days later they got to do it again because you
Yeah,
got
people
snow
don't-
melt, refreezing,
Yeah,
and
people don't, they think it's
they're
just,
out there.
it's a snow
They're out there
storm.
quite a
It's not
bit.
just that.
I mean, we do a lot.
I did hear that salt went down. They were
Yeah,
very
I-
excited about the cost of salt going down. I don't remember what the number was, but they were very excited about how much it went down.
We had salt truck delivery, and the idiot forgot to lower his thing.
Oh yeah,
and
took out the
ripped
salt shed.
Ripped our salt shed apart, and now because of depreciation, we can't get 100% coverage.
Yeah, that's a real kick.
Well, yeah, because
So all that cheap salt is
Yes,
costing
just
you an arm and a leg.
Yeah, yeah. Ours, the new salt shed, you can drive out with the dump on
With it
all
up?
the way up.
Oh,
To alleviate that, I think
alleviate that problem.
they've gotten smarter with the new builds.
with the new buildings.
It happens that often.
Oh yeah,
What, you don't have
Sorry, they're not that smart.
I had a guy drive a backhoe right through the side of the Munson Highway garage, and then this is a digression. A month.
Really?
Let me tell you what grinds my gears. A month later, that
You're not
same
gonna tie this
employee
back
was
in?
like, "I can't believe you haven't had this fixed yet." Like it's just we're open to the elements, and I had it plywood and an emergency thing.
Band-Aid, yeah.
Yeah, I stayed at that
he
highway garage
gave you
till
a
9
hard
o'clock
time.
at night, and the guy that drove through it is giving me a hard time that's taking so long to fix it. I can't tell you what I said after that.
No, I can imagine.
No, this is being
For the record,
recorded.
but-
We're gonna use our imagination.
Yeah, it went well.
Oh my god.
Street lights, we're leaving where they are, level funding. That program's doing just fine by itself. I'm not on the right track, right? Yep. Health department, the only change, let's see what we've got there.
No.
Is the contractual agreement for the Alliance. I think is the only change in that
Yeah.
line.
Well, the
Well, salary.
part-time went up
Yeah.
40%. You have more part-time hours, is that?
From 18 to 25.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, right. When we hired her, she only worked 7 hours.
Yeah, so we do have some, that's correct. Yeah, we do have some additional hours there.
Yeah, when we chatted with them, they were like, they're still catching up on backed up work from COVID.
Yeah.
Just adding tons and tons of work.
Yep.
So, like they could use more. So it's definitely
Yep.
And I believe
Needed.
they're starting to train now on the permitting system.
Yep. Which is actually interesting because the Alliance is rolling out its own, so I think that we might not be doing ours. I just learned this in the last week, but which is good because it'll save us some training time and money on that if the Alliance has their own system. It's driven towards public health. All right. Any questions on Department of Health? Okay. Council on Aging we've already done. I'm gonna do Veteran Services, right? So the only major change there is that we consolidated 2 part-time positions and created 1 full-time. That was something the district had been eyeing for quite some time, and it's working out very well for how our services are getting rendered.
And that's separate from the advisory council, right?
Correct. These are people that are essentially tasked to do your 115 benefits. But in 2024, 115 benefits are not really the whole picture. So we do 115 and then we do coffee hours and meet and greets and outreach and stuff. And we're trying to do that more. And that's really what the 2 full-timers, the switch to that was geared.
And that's, we're the host community.
We're the host
And we get paid.
Correct.
What's is it 25, 25, 25 or?
No, it's based on population.
Yeah,
There's
they're
a
all
formula.
different. Yeah, and I think the
I can give it to you. I just
No, don't worry.
So these are full amounts and then we get paid some of this back?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, he was mentioning to me the 115. There's like an extremely low maximum assets requirement,
right?
And so that's really kind of seen as like the lowest level net in the safety net, and that they're like most of what they do is really connecting people with the other benefits that are
and
available.
that's exactly what I think we're doing that much better now. I think we could be doing better, but I think we've come a long way, and that's what really our role has turned to in that department is, Grafton has 6 people that are eligible for 115, which is important. But the more important piece at this point is getting people, who do I talk to for suicide prevention? Who do I talk to for psychological PTSD? Where do I go for, I can't afford my rent? All these things that have come up, and we know that there's gaps. Well, we're trying to help fill those gaps, even though it's not really what the original purview of that role was designed to be. And it's so important, just the outreach stuff that they're doing, the coffee hours. They're
The
starting
outreach is
to get,
huge. Yeah.
they're starting to get repeats, which is what you want, right? It becomes like this monthly support.
Right.
Yeah, and so we're doing that
Awesome.
much more aggressively and consistently in all the towns. So
What's a 115 benefit?
115 is just the chapter that the 150. It's just what it's called. It's a veterans benefit for people that were in active service. Yeah, it's just what they call it. I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've ever read 115. I know what's in it. 5 bullet points because of the job, but I think it's probably a very outdated way to approach veterans benefits, but we know that that's an issue in this country. Okay. See, I avoided a soapbox. Pretty good. All right. Library. So the library joined a union, and a lot of these changes are really based upon the contract that we were able to negotiate. So.
Salaries.
Yep. So part of that is the managers were reclassified to a higher level. There's a shift differential in place for the hours between 5 and 9. And so, which is not inconsistent with other libraries to have a differential.
And I think when it says like $2 an hour or something like that.
Yep. Exactly.
Where are they with hiring a director?
So I believe that they are interviewing this week. That's the last correspondence that I saw. So in Grafton, the trustees hire the director, so I'm not doing any of that.
And this is the salary that you're anticipating?
No.
Oh.
Nope.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but I doubt it in 2024 that you're going to get anyone with experience to come.
Well, shouldn't we then change that?
No, we'll change it after.
Well, he's got the money in the salary reserve that you
Yeah.
talked about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
We have
think
money in
that's
salary
actually
reserve, plus I don't
higher
really
than
have,
last time we did it.
I, by the way, love the new locks in the bathroom.
Thank you.
I haven't gone to the bathroom in here in a while, but
They're upgraded.
those,
They're upgraded. Yes. They say engaged when you turn the lock.
I should
That's
have.
the
You
joke
would have loved
around.
that. I
Going
like
to
them.
go
They're nice.
engage the restroom.
I used to have to like hold it and go. It's very.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I think for the department head, William was all saying that the current director was significantly higher on step.
Yeah, I still don't know that that's going to play out
Yeah,
at the end
we'll
of the
see.
day. It's just so hard to find people and to find someone that's got a master's in library science that can take the role and has some experience managing people. It's not like there's a plethora of these folks out there. So
The candidate pool is small.
Candidate pool is small in a lot of municipal positions.
yeah,
Yeah.
That's why it's important to keep who you have that are high performing.
yeah,
So
I agree.
no issue with any of those contractual increases that you have in the budget this year. Makes sense.
Thank you.
So expenses are level funded except for the ones that are required to be
Right.
minimum percentage of the operating budget.
Yep, and we did that primarily because we don't have a director.
Yeah.
And I want whoever comes in to be set up to be able to make their own decisions and make the role their own. I don't want to.
So I know that
Overstep too
there's
much.
a lot of regulation associated with the
Yes.
lib. I'm assuming. Did you have to do that? Go through all.
Actually, Mary and William worked on that together.
So we meet the mark,
lot.
we have no
Yes.
issue? Okay.
We're good with. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Nice work. I bet that was not fun.
Yeah, anytime anything changes in the budget, you have to make sure those two lines meet the minimum.
Sync up.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in case you're wondering, I am also the library director. I'm the acting library director,
Nice.
interim library director.
Do you know your Dewey Decimals?
They don't do that anymore. It's Library of Congress.
Oh, look at that.
I do know
He
that.
was so ready for that too.
I know.
So ready.
We knew somebody was gonna ask that
Was,
question.
yes.
I prepped it this morning in the mirror. I'm like, yeah, no, we're so we're getting all our. You need to have that in order to get your state aid. So they had
Right,
to
that's what I was
make
going
me.
Yeah. And if we lose that, we're
Yeah, we're in some trouble.
big trouble with
That's why I asked.
the payback of the,
You can also come see me up there on Tuesdays and
is
Thursdays.
it, we have to maintain that for like 20 years or something?
Yep, exactly.
For the director position?
No, the,
No, they're-
The minimum funding requirement.
minimum
Oh,
funding,
understand.
that's 13%.
Yep.
Or,
So now we're on retirement of debt.
wherever, yeah.
No,
Nelson Library.
Well,
Nelson.
Skip,
I already did that.
Skip already did it.
Oh, yeah.
They
in
need,
the
they need
beginning.
new lights.
These two.
They need lights.
Yeah, we gotta do the lights.
Yep.
Understood.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked, yeah, we did
Yeah,
talk
so
about it briefly.
if
during
the
one of
opportunity arises, I will work on the project, much like I did with the electrical work. I saved us a couple of days of labor up there because I did it myself.
Yeah.
So. Trench digging.
Okay.
Trench digging.
How's the trust? Is that growing, shrinking, staying the same?
It's growing. It's about $103,000 now.
Okay. Just curious.
Do we want to go line by line through debt, or do we want to just?
Well, this is just based off the debt schedule.
Right. There's not a lot of.
No, nothing we can adjust.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah. It is what it is.
Yep.
Do you
Yeah.
have, do you have the debt schedule, like to know like when things roll off, like how we?
Yeah. Tell it.
Yes, well, we can't, we don't
I
have
know you
the
can't put it here, but can you?
account, well, no, we
No.
don't have the account
I didn't
numbers.
print it in the thing, but I could.
But I think if you see maybe in Beta, ClearGov, if the account numbers are there. So when I did the chart of account conversion, I made it so in the chart itself, you can see the account number. So I have a segment, so when we take on the ban, and then I have another segment for when it rolls off. And I've also consolidated it because the debt was in CPA, some of the debt was in sewer. So I took it all out and it's all now in the general fund. Now the trial balance is linked to all the expense accounts. So as you're paying, it reduces the bond in the general fund. When I first started, I would have to wait for the treasurer collector to complete their SOI, so then I can do my closing journal entries. And I shouldn't be waiting on anybody to do my closing journal entries. So I set up the account, the structure in a way so it automatically does I don't even have to do the journal entry now because I've linked it correctly. And plus we can just run the trial balance and I can tell you now, like when things roll off. So it very, very helpful.
So, Evan, do you have a bond issue coming up? Are you gonna be going under a bond review with Wall Street?
Yes. No bond review.
No, we're just,
Banning.
we're banning for the fire truck. So then we'll be banning the summer for George Hill. So then once all the banning is done, then we'll combine it into a bond and then we'll have the bond call.
By the time, you're AA plus now, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so by the time you sit down with Wall Street to do a fight and they do the review, all this new growth, all this capital, all the changes you've made in your management structure, if you don't go to AAA, I'd be really shocked.
We're gonna go for it.
Yeah.
We're gonna try.
Yeah, that's what we're angling towards.
Yeah.
So, that's my long.
There's no question,
long-term
there's
goal.
you're setting yourself up really nice to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, we all of our financial decisions really tie back to the bond rating
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and where we want to be.
I mean, the only problem is the OPEB liability of $67 million.
But we are once
do
we
that.
do our funding policy,
Yes.
and then but we brought it down because when we started it was 83 million.
Yeah.
Now we've already brought that liability down to 67,000 just by.
And it will reduce
and you
even
mean-
more because of the 80-20, how we're
Right.
investing.
When does your unfunded pension liability go away?
20,
I think Worcester Regional was
36.
2035.
Okay.
35 or 36.
So for your OPEB liability, when you
Right.
do that, you
Right.
say, when that goes away, we're gonna
gonna fund
transfer
it,
that
yes.
money and
Yep.
they'll eat that up and
Yep.
love it.
Yep.
Yep.
And it'll drop that liability way down.
Absolutely.
They actually think our liability will end up being somewhere in the 20s. And when we started, it was at 83. So if we can
right.
do that via policy and financial changes here, then I think that's a pretty good win.
We'll have a big celebration for you when you get your AAA bond rating.
Thank you. I tell people all the time, that's the thing I'm most proud of that nobody cares about. I know you care about
I
it. 'cause
care
you
about
do.
it, and when I did it, I brag about it all the time,
Yeah.
and my select board looked at me and said, shut up, nobody
Yeah,
wants
nobody-
to hear about
nobody-
it.
Yeah, when we
It's a manager thing, Evan.
I know. We refinanced debt before I even started. I started like 3 weeks early working with Mary to refinance the debt. We saved like $1 million over 10 years, and then I went to the first select board meeting, and like we did it, and everybody was like, "All right,
what's next?"
Like, it was a lot of work. You didn't even pay me to do that. No. Anyways,
Next time
Doing
someone
that by
complains
standard?
about the trash bags,
AAA.
you're like, listen, the bond
Yeah.
rating.
all right. That's a great one. What else do I have? Is that it?
That's it.
Interfund transfers, which is going to zero.
Yep.
And CIPC.
CIPC. I haven't made any changes since I presented it the first time. Do you want to go over it, or are you?
Nope.
Okay.
I don't. Well, this we can decide. I don't.
I think we've probably covered it enough. We'll be covering it again. Current time.
Correct.
Time.
Yep. And if I do make any changes, when you can see them in clear, but I'll just update the spreadsheet and send it out to you. So,
Just want to look at revenues.
sorry.
If you
Yes,
don't mind.
you did say that. All right, so, excuse me. We haven't really made any major changes in here since we met with FinCom the first time.
No, I've just
Just minor.
adjusted for like
Yeah.
cherry sheet.
Right, so if you look at, our estimated tax revenue, we had at 53,917 in fiscal '24, we're now at 56,138. Fines and forfeits, pretty much the same. Motor vehicle, we've added about less than 100,000, about 28,000 there. Meals excise, we bumped up a little bit. We've been consistently higher than our 147 that we had carried for a few years, but there's not really any new restaurants on the horizon that I think will substantially impact that.
What do you think the chances of that new municipal thing passing to allow us to up it to 1%?
I think it's probably got a good shot. That and the excise tax bump that they're talking about, I think probably both have a good shot. I think because the rest of the municipal support system at the state is
terrible.
So I think that that looks a lot more palatable or appetizing than it did.
No pun intended. with the
Exactly.
mustache.
Exactly. Cannabis still $800.
Yeah. The panacea.
Yeah, penalties and interest on taxes. We just leave that at 92.5.
Yeah.
That's not really enough one way or the other to make a big change. A pilot is being renegotiated this year for fiscal '26. That's our Tufts agreement. So we'll see if that changes or shakes anything out. Then we go down to other departmental revenue. I think that's the only place we have another change, and licensing and permits. Sorry, let me find.
That licensing permit number that'll generate some free cash for you based on what you said
and
earlier.
that's kind of what we're
Yeah,
hoping.
yeah.
Yep, exactly. I didn't want to. We did. Well, I wanted to play with it. Mary did not.
No, Mary's smart.
She is smart.
You know, we use it for capital
Yeah.
too,
Yep.
and the 800,000 that we have for stabilization, that's just not enough.
Not enough. No, I
so,
agree with you.
So that's where we're staying. Investment income, Mary. Do you want to speak to why we changed that by 63,000?
Oh, right. So the interest rates are just crazy right now, and we're making a lot of changes with our banking, and we're taking advantage of it, and we're moving money, and we're getting about 5%.
To make you jealous, 6 months into the fiscal year on investment income, I just cleared $1 million.
Wow.
We have an elementary school construction project going on. We're being careful about arbitrage and everything,
Yeah.
but $1 million.
Wow.
Make up for the lost cannabis revenue.
Yeah, no kidding.
Up in smoke.
So really, these numbers have not deviated more than a few thousand, honestly, since you last met.
So you are projecting right now with the budget that we are at the levy or slightly?
We're about $20,000 to the good.
Okay.
I think it's 23.
Better than being 20,000 to the bad.
Yeah.
23,231.
Hey, you're good credit.
And let me just show you one other thing here real quick, and then if there's no other questions, I can be done talking. But I have, let me see if this is the right PowerPoint. Yeah. So I've been doing this thing for the select board, and they seem to like it. New share.
Oh, I do like this.
Fancy.
Yeah. Oh man, I got this backwards. Hold on. That's not it. That wasn't the right button.
I gotta change glasses.
I gotta go.
Display settings up at your top.
Oh, thank you. Where am I at?
Go to slideshow.
Yeah. I'm in slideshow.
Hit from current slide.
Yeah, but when I do that, it's
Yeah, just
Oh.
trust us.
Swap your view.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Anyways, just look at it this way. Not following what you people like tell me to do.
You are so funny.
Well, I also have the Zoom
No
thing
excuses.
may
No
mess me up.
excuses.
I did this successfully just the other day. Anyways, so what you'll see here, like what I've been trying to do is explain or show people in a visual way what happens to the municipal budget as we go through the process. So when we got our initial requests, we were $551,000 to the bad, and then we have meetings, we get to 452, and then we have more meetings, we get down to 210, and then we make some kind of drastic changes and we get to 12,000. We find a little more money, we get up to 51 for the initial presentation at the select board. Then the cherry sheet hits and it's worse than we ever had imagined, and Worcester County Retirement comes in higher. That kicks us down to 137. So then we've got to do cuts, and then BVT gives us our number, and then we've got to do more cuts, and we get us up to 30,000. And then on February 20th, which is when I presented this the first time, we had 107. Right. Now we're back down to 20,000. So
I like that.
I like to show it because it shows that we didn't just throw numbers out there and then say yes to everybody.
It's
Like,
definitely a moving document.
and there and we have to do a lot of work to get these numbers to come back to the good. So
Yeah, and I think the fact that there's capacity of more work that could be done if we had the funding for it.
Right.
And like not just that money's not being wasted, but that we could be doing even more for the people of Grafton if we had a little bit more money for it.
right, 100%.
Having great job with all your departments this year with the budgets. They did a great job.
Thank you. This is still irritating the heck out of me.
I promise. Go up to display settings in the
Oh, right
top.
here. This one.
Yeah, yeah, that one.
Got it. Thank you.
Got you.
Oh yeah! Wow.
Oh, that's much better.
It's bigger, we can see it one.
But if it's bigger, the bars are bigger going down.
Now we feel bad.
Any further questions on anything? All right, our next meeting is going to be Wednesday with BVT. We did get information from them yesterday that we'll make sure that gets shared out to everybody before the meeting.
Did that only
About
come to us, Greg?
It came to you, me, and Matt.
Okay. I'll make sure that we.
Yeah, and they're looking
sit on
at
it.
potential
I'm gonna share that with me.
$10 million capital project to replace the roof and air conditioning. So they want us to vote on that at town meeting this year. So they even very helpfully provided us with language for a debt exclusion and a debt exclusion on our
Oh, right. Yeah, make it a
our
project.
town election. So it was very, very helpful of them to provide that for us.
I will say they always do.
Yeah.
So
Greg, I told you I wasn't going to be here Wednesday, right?
yes.
Same with me.
Okay.
I'll be late and on Zoom.
Okay.
I'll be
We
Zoom.
still have enough
I'll be here.
quorum for a quorum, I think. Okay, if there is no further business to come before us, I declare us adjourned.